Is this your first live?
Yeah, this is my first live on mine. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, next week will be mine.
Hi guys.
Bye.
Look, I could
Some random hands.
Yeah.
Jazz hands.
So snakes one out of the topic of conversation for this week then.
Yeah, I guess we can just do like, a bit of time.
Conversation for this week then.
Oh, let me turn that down. Ooh. Yeah, we'll just do like a bit of time on that maybe, and then just do whatever. Like, hello Ben. Ben's Pets.
Hi Ben.
Oh. There we go. I can see my comments now. I couldn't see them. Hello, Ollie.
Evening, Ollie.
How you doing, mate? All
Very
right?
good, Ben. Very good. Thanks for joining. Yeah, no, this is like my very first live. I was going to do my live when I had my unboxing from Jaden when I got his 500 subscriber giveaway, and we were going to do a live then, but she didn't feel too comfortable just in case one decided it was going to, like, more so the OBT than any of them.
You always get one, no matter what.
That was the thing. When I'd done the video for it, it was just like basically one sitting almost, and nothing really decided that it wanted to run. We were waiting for it.
Right. There.
Hello, Greg.
Hello, Greg.
Yeah, I think no matter what you do with tarantulas, you're always going to get one little bolty one, aren't you, really?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's always the one you least expect as well. It's always the one you expect to be really chilled out.
Yeah, well, that was it. The only one that we had problems with, or that I had problems with, was the GBB. Well, it wasn't even the OBT. The OBT just kind of walked on in.
Yeah, one of the funniest things I've ever seen was rehousing an OBT with a friend who was fairly new to keeping tarantulas. And it was all really chilled out, got no dramas, just coaxed it into its new enclosure. It was just kind of sat there. I was waiting to put the lid on, and he moved. It startled the spider, and she just shot across the tank, up the side, down the other side, across the carpet, and was halfway up the wall. Well, I've never seen anyone move as quick as this guy moved. He literally levitated off the floor and disappeared.
I know, you just don't realise how quick that they can move. The tiniest little thing like that, and yet they're so quick.
Yeah.
I don't know what the scientific name is, but it's an Asian mustard.
Okay.
Oh, it's one of the baboons, isn't it? I think.
Not the mustard baboon. It's, I can't think now, but oh my god, the video I've got it. Like, I pop the lid, I get the tongs, turn around, and it just pops the lid off. That was it. I was done. I was like, nah, no, thank you. Yeah, just no thanks.
Yeah, you say that, but I've got quite an aggressive, well, defensive, should I say, because they're not really aggressive, are they, as of such? But, you know, I've got a defensive Alboplosis at the minute, but he is in pre-molt. So I did try to make, you know, I thought I'd attempt to feed him just in case, because you never know, do you, really?
Yeah.
And that was it. Threat pose, fangs were out, slapping the ground. It's like, whoa, hold on a minute. You know, all I wanted
When
to
they
do was
slap
give
the
you a bit of
ground, I
food.
look at them. When they slap the ground, I look at them. I'm like, what are you getting out of that? Like, I'm over here. Like,
I'm still about 2 foot away from you.
yeah, and you're hitting the ground like a child. It's just, oh,
It is, isn't
I
it?
just
Well,
don't
it's
get
almost like stamping in a tantrum.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that's funny thing.
two of the most defensive ones I've ever owned. One was a Gramastola Rosea, just a bog standard chili rose. Everyone goes on about, yeah, cracking first beginner species. Every species has got their one that just doesn't conform, and and this was that one. This was evil. It was like it was an OBT reincarnated.
Love it.
Couldn't do anything with it. Couldn't go near it. Every time you poured the water in, it would attack the stream of water, and everything was brilliant. And then I had a little juvenile Aphanopelma species, Guatemala Blue, when they first came out into the hobby. And that was an absolute psychopath. You lift the lid and start to spray that one down, and the droplets of water that was running down the side of the tank, it would attack those. It was insane.
Makes you think, why do they do it, innit?
Yeah, so some of them just are, don't it? It's, like I said, it's always the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
It's like when you start thinking about like pairing tarantulas off and doing your own breeding and that sort of stuff, you expect like the males that you introduce to like defensive old worlds to be the ones that get nailed straight away, but they're really chilled out when it comes to pairing. Some of the most aggressive interactions I've ever seen between males and females have been with brackies.
Yeah, brackies, GBBs.
Yeah.
Pulchers are exactly the same as well. So, it's strange that everyone always goes, oh look, what should I get as a new, a first tarantula? Everyone goes, New World. They're so chill, they're calm, they're this, and it's like, well, in fact, they're normally the bastards of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you guys been up to this weekend?
Well, I normally work Sundays, but I had Sunday off. So that was nice to just wake up and do nothing. But then I ended up doing stuff. So you're like, I'm technically working, but not working at work. Cleaning. How about you?
I've spent the weekend I've spent the weekend in the snake room. So now the weather's started to get a little bit colder. It was sort of time to start gutting it all out and redoing the insulation and stuff. So moved everything out. I've insulated all the walls, put up loads of like loft installation in the hollow walls and all that sort of stuff. Got that all sorted. Built a new door for it that's insulated as well. So it's got some sheet polystyrene foam built inside the door, so that'll sort of keep a bit more heat in. And actually it's worked out really well. So the temperature over the last few days has been dipping quite a bit, so it's been a bit chilly outside. And obviously having the snake room in the garage, we've had to have the heaters running quite a lot. Well, today's the first day while it's been a little bit chilly that I've not had to put the heaters on at all. In fact, I had to turn them off because it hit nearly 30 degrees in there earlier on.
That's warm.
So on the plus side, at least I've done a good job of insulating it. It shows that it's working. Yeah. But yeah, I'm shattered now, and that's my bank holiday over and done with, and I'm back in work as normal tomorrow morning.
Earning all the money that you spent on the snake room.
Yeah.
It's always a way, isn't it?
That and waiting for my new delivery from the Isopod King as well. That's coming this week.
Was it what you were asking about?
Hopefully, I decided to go with a mystery box in the end because I was having a look at all the price list and everything else. He put some more bits and pieces on, which was like the payday deals, and then I had to look through and I was like, I still can't make a decision. There's just too much to choose from, and if I let myself run away with it and go, I want a bit of this, I want that, I'll end up spending way more than I ever intended to. So I just banged on just a cheeky little mystery box and some leaf litter and stuff, and then we'll see what turns up. So
Fingers crossed, it's what you want. Or well,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much there, wasn't there? Really.
Yeah.
When you looked at his price list, it was like, I kind of like them. Oh, before I even noticed it, like I went through, I think about the first 15, and I was like, I want all of them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. See, the thing is, I've got to decide what to do with them now. So I don't want to put them in with the rest of my cleanup crew, because that's just kind of like a random box of stuff that I just scoop out and chuck a scoop in with the spiders and stuff when I redo their enclosures and whatnot. So if I'm getting ornamental species of isopods that I'm spending a bit of money on, I don't really want to just chuck them in with a mix of random other stuff. And most of my juveniles actually just eat them all anyway. So
hey, Jaden.
Hey, Jagan.
Evening, Jaden.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you obviously get your isopods like your tropical greys and your giant orange that are like nice and cheap, that you can sort of throw them in basically anything you want. And if they get eaten, it's not really the end of the world, because I mean, you've spent like a £5 on like whatever it is, 20 or 25 of them or something. Some of them you're paying like 40, 50 quid for 10 of them.
Yeah, see, they're the ones that I would. To me, that's just like if I put them in with my spiders, especially the smaller ones that will, for the bigger ones that it's a wood lapse basically. They're going to ignore it. They're not going to do anything with it. But for the juveniles, where it's more of a capable size prey, that's a really expensive meal for the tarantulas. I don't really want to.
Well, that's it. When you're talking £2 a meal, basically, or £2 for an isopod. And you go and throw them in, and like a couple of days later, you realise that they've all gone. You think to yourself, well, I can buy a box of locusts that will last me a month for like £2.
Yeah.
Can be quite pricey, can't it?
Yeah.
Ben's also said this. And I have heard this quite a lot, actually.
Okay.
That your giant oranges will obviously normally eat your molten teas, whereas obviously your smaller species, not so much.
No, so I've got.
Hello, Mark.
Hey, Mark. So yeah, I've got the giant oranges in with just like a mix of springtails and other bits and pieces, but they mostly live in. I've got them in with like the tropical species of snakes that I keep, the subtropical, like the black milk snakes and stuff like that are on bioactive setup. So mostly them in with the spiders. I've only really got dwarf tropical whites and tropical greys. So there's not really much that they could do. I don't think they're a little bit. I've used them for years. I know a lot of people that have used them for years. I don't know if I'd want to fill up an enclosure full of isopods though. It's not a risk worth taking, is it?
No. I think snakes are obviously slightly different as well when it comes to like molting and shedding skins, isn't it? That that snakes don't necessarily need that harden up period like the 10 days that a tarantula does.
No.
But yeah, I did almost get some death heads today. Death head cockroaches. So I had some
cool, yeah.
But it's like couldn't justify spending that extra.
Yeah, people tend to keep them in sort of communal setups with roaches and millipedes, don't they?
Yeah.
Like hissing roaches, millipedes, isopods, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what I've got my communal as at the minute. Is it's got a couple of hisses in there, some millipedes, isopods, and springtails.
Yeah,
So I was just going to add a couple of death heads to it just to, you know, beef it up a little bit. Because, I mean, it is quite a big tank for, you know, what's living in there.
Yeah. Yeah, my hisses have gone mental. They've absolutely exploded. So I've been waiting for them to do something for ages and ages and ages. It looked like they dropped one Uthika for a little while. And it started off only a small colony. It was sort of like 5 males, 5 females. And I just waited for it to do something. And all of a sudden, it's just gone mental over the last couple of weeks. I've got hundreds of babies in there now.
That's exactly the same as mine. I literally cleaned them out yesterday, and wow, like, yeah, it's just ridiculous. I don't know what I'm going to do with them all.
Yeah, no idea.
Hello, Keith.
It seems like as one lot molts out and sort of gets to the next nymphal stage, you get a brand new lot new lot has just hatched out as well. So I'm really pleased with it. I definitely need to up the size of their enclosure now.
I think they're very, very underestimated.
What, hissing roaches? Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. And isopods as well. You know, they're overlooked, which is a shame because, well, I think they're pretty mint.
Yeah, they are pretty cool. The kids love them because obviously the kids can get them out and hold on to them and stuff, and they interact with you a little bit. And obviously, when the kids pick them up and they hiss at them, they think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I was speaking to someone, like, obviously that I work with, about like isopods, and to him I had to call them wood lice because he was like, "What the fuck do you mean?" As you do, you know. And it's like I was saying about, like, obviously maybe getting a mystery box or buying some species of isopods and stuff, and he was like, "What? You mean there's like more than one type of wood louse?" I was like, "Yeah, there's thousands." It was like, "No." I was like,
"Yes."
You know. And then I started talking to him to about the rubber duckies.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, and he was like, "You're having a laugh, aren't you?" I was like, "No, they have like yellow faces and they have like," he's like, "Shut up." So I showed him this picture and he was like, "They almost look like they've got faces and own personalities and everything." It was like, "They are actually really cool." I was like, "Yeah, I know." He was like, "Oh, okay, now I can kind of see why he wants them." You know, and this is a guy that like turns his nose up at anything like this.
They're just really...
sometimes it just takes a little something that's a bit different like that just to turn somebody, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, about a year ago, like when he realised I had all this stuff, he was thinking about maybe getting a snake of some sort.
Okay.
But he sort of has never progressed with that. So
yeah.
But he does come down, you know, he has been down here occasionally, and he does obviously get creeped out by the spiders, but he does come down and have a look.
Yeah. Well, at least he actually comes and has a look. You know.
Yeah, that's just it. Is that you do get those people that, you know, they're still a little bit creepy about things, but they do still want to come and be fascinated by it at the same time.
Yeah.
You have a question, Tom?
Yeah, I was just saying that one. Are you on about this one here from Rob?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a few set up there, Rob. Yeah. Yeah, there's a few up there, a few like down there, a few just behind me. You know, I am getting around to filling them. Don't worry.
All takes time.
Yeah, but that's it. I mean, I'd much rather have the enclosures here empty, just for those, you know, rather than going and all of a sudden impulse buying and buying a load of spiders and going, what are we going to put them in? We'll hold them in our hand, put them in our pocket. I don't know. We'll do something with them.
You say that, but does anybody else walk down that like Tupperware container aisle in Tesco's and go, "This is just a spider pot aisle"? It's the only thing I ever think of when I walk down those aisles. It's my
The
first.
worst
If
one-
anything turns up that I'm not expecting, that's where I go straight away. Down to Tesco's, plastic tubs.
The worst for me is like the range. You go there.
And
Oh my
a
god.
sandwich pot.
They're pretty cool.
I've just got my mealworms in.
That's a bit like what I've got my hissing roaches in, but obviously a much bigger version.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we go everywhere. The range, B&M, Home Bargains.
Wilco.
Yeah. All of a sudden, you're just out shopping, you know, looking for some bits and pieces, and all of a sudden you come down the kitchen aisle, isn't it? And it's like, hold on, stop, tubs. I can
You
put
get
air
in with
holes in
like
all
8
of them.
bags, and you're like, I've nearly done 60 quid on plastic. That
Yeah,
heartbreaking. That is.
yeah, I've done that before.
I
They all
did
get
that when I
used to it,
first
innit?
started. When I first started, obviously, I didn't know what sort of size I was getting. I was like just buying loads of mystery boxes, and I didn't know what was going to turn up in them. So it was like, I'll have to go out and just make sure I've got every size tub possible.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
at the time, I didn't have enough glass enclosures to do everything. So I thought the best way to do it was just go buy a load of plastic, and then you can just upgrade them as and when.
yeah. I've got 2 big rubs that are full of various different size pots for spiderlings, juveniles, small adults.
Yeah.
And I don't think, unless I want something really special, I don't think I'm gonna have to buy another tarantula enclosure for years. And it's like you say as well. It's sometimes when stuff comes up, you don't necessarily need it, but something will come up and you'll think, oh, that's really smart. I'll get that. Perfect
Yeah.
example of that is one of these. So I just need to move this for a sec so it doesn't fall off. I've got them balanced on there at the moment. But I picked up these.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh yeah, very nice.
So basically, all that is a shoebox,
Yeah.
but it's solid clear acrylic. And if you look at buying acrylic tanks at that size at the moment, because that's a good what, 25 centimeters by 17 centimeters. That's quite a good size, and it's about,
That's a decent size 9 pair of trainers, isn't it?
yes, basically, yeah. And they'll fit in there quite nicely. It's got some
And
vent,
they're
it's got some
basically the same
vents,
size as
vents in
that thing,
already.
isn't it?
So you got some
Yeah.
vent holes in the top already. I don't know if you can see those.
Yeah, they're
But-
decent actually.
And I found those on a shoe selling website that sells like women's shoes and stuff, and that was a tenner.
Ain't bad, is it?
Well, not when you consider your average acrylic tank now costs at least 20 or 30 quid.
That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it doesn't need any modification or anything. Maybe a few extra air holes depending on what species you're keeping in it.
I quite like these. They're really small, as you can see. I can hold it in like one hand.
Nice little custom aquarium ones.
Yeah, but
Or from Bitey Things or Spider Shop or whatever.
Yeah,
this from the factory.
Tropical Factory.
Yeah, those. It was like 3 for £12 or something, but they're really good. Like they're really, really good. I quite like them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not there's anything in that one, but
It's just those ones, isn't it? Just with the,
yeah.
the little vent on the top then, aren't they? Yeah, those are the size that I used for the juvenile or boreals, so exactly the
Yeah.
same. Just obviously, I got all mine cheap, like cheap.
Yeah, I always keep my eye open for bits and pieces like that.
It's helpful, isn't it? It's handy.
Yeah.
No, but that's why you just got to always keep your eye out for all these second-hand things as well.
Yeah.
I know. I always look on all the Facebook groups or all the tarantula groups. There's always people that are selling bits and pieces.
Even Facebook Marketplace is pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like up your end, but
Yeah, not fantastic.
No, if you all know Graham from Brackmar Breedings, Rob went over and saw him as well the other week to pick up some Balfuries. So you can now safely say that 2 people have been into his little setup room.
Okay.
It is quite wicked in there, the way that he's got it set up. It's like a little bench in front of him, and he's got his spiders just literally down one wall almost.
nice. I would like mine sort of all in the same enclosure, but like style enclosure. I don't mean all in,
Just one big enclosure, just roaming around.
Yeah,
together.
just the ones which like fill the calyx cubes. I think they're 45 by 45, I think. But
yeah,
they're just so expensive. Everything is like, it's ridiculous.
I got one of them 45 cubes for 35 quid off of Facebook.
That's not too bad.
So I thought that was a reasonable price.
Yeah.
At the minute, it's got herbs growing on in the windowsill. And that's not a euphemism for anything.
Oh,
Honestly. Mint and stuff.
Yeah.
For the tortoise.
Actual herbs.
Yeah, actual herbs, yes.
Not herbs.
Herbs. No, not herbs.
Not ones that you got to dry out, and not that I know what to do with it, but
no one knows what to do with any of that sort of stuff. Anyway, you've got to dry these herbs out as well, so
Yeah.
they last longer then.
Waiting for mice to defrost takes so long.
How'd you defrost them?
Just in a tub.
The room temperature.
Yeah.
Normally. Leave them. One sec.
Somebody said like put them in water and stuff like that, which it's all right, but then the substrate sticks to it, and it's just
Yeah. So all I ever do, because obviously if I'm doing a feed, because I've got like 40 snakes, so if I'm doing a feed, obviously it takes quite a while to defrost a big lump like that. So generally I will stick them in some warm water to assist in defrosting a bit quicker. Never hot water, because you want them to defrost as naturally as possible. But sometimes
water at room temperature.
So that's it. It's generally slightly warmer than room temperature. And by the time you put frozen rodents in it, the water's cold anyway. But it does help to defrost them a bit quicker. But I generally do the same thing. So the snakes don't really like hanging wet rodents over them and being dripped on. It can put them off the feeding and stuff. So always give them a rub down first. Get an old tea towel and just give everything a rub down before you offer it in. It also helps to stop the substrata from sticking to them as well.
Somebody said put them in a plastic bag, then put the bag in the water so they don't get wet.
Yeah,
that
works.
Quite a good idea. Yeah.
Make sure it's not a child safe bag from Asda's or something with holes in the bottom.
Yeah, because they
They get wet.
Oh, hang on a second. I think I can hear the missus. Sarah?
My assassin bug
Yes, dear.
gave birth, should we say? So I've got a load of little.
Yes, please.
Little eggs or nymphs or
Yeah, there's so many though. Like, it's hard to get them all, but I'm slowly
I
going
know.
through them. But I had one die the other day, but they are quite.
Yeah, I
They are
know.
quite.
Oh, it's
Fascinating to
that's
look
the giant spinies, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. See, I was going
red
to get
spotted
some of those a
spinies.
while ago. I got told though that they make a really, really interesting addition to the collection, obviously, because they'll live communally, they'll hunt communally and stuff like that, and apparently they're quite fun to watch.
Watching them catch their prey, it's so
wicked, isn't
fascinating.
it?
It is, honestly, it's just incredible. Especially when they sort of like catch it at the same time, and they both walk backwards and just end up ripping
Tearing
it
it apart.
Honestly, it's brilliant.
Yeah, Steve
Well,
Thornton breeds them, didn't he?
I'm not 100%, but I was saying just a minute ago to Tom, mine's done it. So I've got quite a few, but it's just separating them from the tub because they'll eat them. So yeah, they're in a little plastic tub at the minute, but
Okay.
I think there's about 7 or 8 in there at the minute.
Okay.
But there is more in the big tank. I just,
Well, if you want to separate some off, if you want to separate some off, mate, if you're happy selling a few of them on, I'll have some off you.
Yeah, I can sort some out. They're just so small at the minute. If I can get them a bit more,
established,
thrown on,
yeah, then I don't want to send you and like they. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, happy days,
I don't know
mate.
what you're
Thank
keeping
you.
your. I don't know what you're keeping yours on, but I had white spotted assassin bugs a couple of years back, and they thrived on the tortoise life bedding.
Yeah.
And they just thrived on that. I basically just sprayed them down once a week, and I tell you what, they bred like rabbits. And I mean, I had hundreds and absolute hundreds of them. In the end, I was basically your little cricket tubs, your little food tubs that you get. I was just putting a layer of tortoise life in that, and then putting like 2 eggs in each pot, and then that was it. And I had stacks and stacks and stacks. And before I knew it, I had way too many that I just didn't even know what to do with.
Mine are
and they seem to do really well.
Mine are just on cocoa fiber.
Yeah.
But
mine were in an Exoterra 30 by 30 cube. And just put a couple of bits of cork bark in there just for them to hide under. I put a little water dish in the corner, even though they don't generally need one.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I say, I just sprayed down the enclosure once a week, and that was good enough.
Yeah.
Mine are in a nano, like the Exoterra Nano. So I bought 4 to start with. That was about 2, maybe 3 years ago. And yeah, they've always been happy. Not the same ones. So, you know what I mean? I've been adding to it, but yeah, they've always gave me babies. So babies. Yeah, so I must be doing something right.
Yeah, that tortoise life that Tom was just saying about, I've just started using that for all of my like as a part of a mix for all of my bioactive setups. I started using it as a substrata for the community of custodians, like the isopods and springtails and that sort of stuff. Yeah. I find that it really, really does, like, it makes them explode. It's because obviously it's quite natural, And because of the type of stuff it's made from, it's easily digestible by the tortoises and stuff. So it's very organic. Being like a high proportion of organic matter, it sort of breaks down and aids in like, you know, the production of all the stuff that the isopods and springtails and all that they eat as well. So it's really good stuff actually. And I only discovered that a few months back.
Good to know.
Yeah, that was the thing I didn't know really about it up until like a couple of years ago, because where I'd not like looked into all that sort of stuff, you know, I just thought pretty much everything was just on basic cocoa fibre and orchid bark, you know, obviously other than snakes. But yeah, I just thought that basically all your reptiles, all your inverts, everything all just got kept on cocoa fibre. And then lo and behold, I went in there one day and they had these assassin bugs. I bought 4 of them and I said to them, look, you know, what's the best substrate to keep them on? And they guided me to this and that was it. I never went back to anything after that.
Okay.
Oh.
Thank you.
Anyone know?
I don't know.
No, don't know of any.
No, I
other.
can't say that I do, Mark.
I know the Spider Shot and Creatures from the North have got adults in at the moment.
I was tempted today with a Phonopelma Samani.
Okay.
No, the Costa Rican zebra leg.
Yeah.
British. Yeah. I mean, they were, I'd say, close to sub-adult, but unsexed for 35 quid. But it's one of those that when you're buying a sort of sub-adult that's unsexed, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be male.
Yeah.
Because
there's no reason you shouldn't know at that size.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. Pretty much anything that's bigger than a juvenile that's being sold as unsexed. It's got to be male, isn't it?
Yeah, so I was just like, I can't do it. You know, it's like 35. I know it's 35 quid, but it's you kind of think to yourself, well, in the next sort of 9 months' time, he's going to mature out. I mean, I'm quite happy. I mean, if any of mine end up turning out to be mature, then I'll just send them off as breeding projects and stuff anyway. Or I'll see if I can find a female for them. Whichever way it goes, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for a male T Blondie at the moment. So the female is not long shed. She's just come out and about. Given her a measure while she was out and about, and she's a good 9.5-inch leg span now. She's a big girl.
Nice, very, very nice.
So she's, I mean, obviously I know she's still got some growing to do, but you can tell by the spermatheca on the inside of the molt that it's all sclerotized. She's sexually mature. So I want to try and find a sub-adult male. Or I mean, I'll take a mature male if someone's got one, but I'll prefer to get a sub-adult male because it gives me a chance to do a little bit of pre-breeding conditioning with them.
Yeah.
At least wait till she's like maybe molted out again or something.
Yeah, so probably wait until just after the next molt, and that's your best chances. Then if you give them a good month to recover after a molt, give them a really good feed, and then pair them up. There's no chance of them hanging on to that. There's no chance of them hanging on to that until they molt out again, and then you've lost out on the opportunity and that sort of stuff. And they're not a massively easy species to breed. They're not easy at all. They're quite fiddly.
If you do get baby, let me know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I already now, like people are already saying, like, if it's all successful, I reckon most of them are already spoken for, just in my circle of friends that keep them as well. So, but I found a mature male. I found somebody selling a mature male on one of the groups that I go on, and he wanted 90 quid for it. I thought I was a little bit extortionate.
Little bit steep, really.
Yeah.
I suppose it depends on how badly
is.
you want one, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the next thing with it. If someone wants it, then they're going to pay that money, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it this way, you get juveniles selling for about, depending on where you're looking at the moment, you've got juvenile unsexed, and they're selling at sort of, 70 to 80 quid. So I might as well just wait out until someone's selling a juvenile or a sub-adult for 80, 90 quid. You can pretty much guarantee it's going to be a male, and I'll buy it then for the same price.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I've got a long way before my spermie even gets to that sort of size.
Yeah.
Only tiny.
See, the Sturmey are really underrated. Obviously, they're the most popular Goliath in the hobby at the moment in terms of the amount of them that are about. But I still think they're massively underrated. You look at the Blondie and the Apophysis, they're really they're quite rare. They're really highly sought after. But if you actually look at the size of them and that sort of stuff, the Sturmey is a much bigger beast. They're a lot chunkier. They've got bigger chelicerae. They've got a bigger carapace. They're stockier overall than a Blondie is. I think they're a massively underrated spider, the Sturmey.
I think something else that's underestimated is LPs. Like, not many people like them, and I don't know. Like,
they're proper gentle giants, aren't they?
Yeah, like, yeah, I really like mine, but I don't know.
I've only asked not to have LPs in the mystery boxes that I've ordered, just purely because I didn't want one of all the same big spider, because how well, or near enough any mystery box you get as beginner or something, they're going to throw an LP in there, aren't they? Because they're so cheap.
Yeah.
So I just didn't want, like 50 LPs or something when, I could have an LP and a couple of Theraphosas and a couple of Pantherbetas.
Yeah. So you're talking about underrated species, especially if you like you really big New World terrestrials. So obviously you've got your Pantherbetas, you've got your Lasiodora, Theraphosa. Sericopelma is a really underrated genus, and you don't see a lot of them around now, and they can get to pretty enormous sizes. They can easily equal an LP for size.
Really?
Yeah. Some of the Sericopelma genus get pretty massive. And the Megaphobema robustum as well. That's a pretty epic size. A Colombian giant redleg. That's a pretty big spider when it's fully grown. That can top out a good 9 inches.
What do you think of Nandi chromatis?
Wicked species.
They are a good species. I have a little bit of a thing about the Nandu genus. I kind of steer clear of it. And that's only because of a really, really bad experience with one Nandu Trapepi that I had a little while back. And I found for all of the species of spider that I've kept over the years, the worst reaction I've ever had to any of the urticating hairs was from a Nandu Trapepi.
Yeah.
I mean, I can deal with Theraphosa, I can deal with Lasiodora, I can deal with some of the worst, the type 4s and that's absolutely no dramas with them. That Nandu Trapepi absolutely put me on my arse.
Well, let's add someone else in.
Did
hey,
say
Scott.
Boom.
Hello, Scott.
Yo,
Good morning,
Harry,
Sean.
everybody all right? Hey, Mark. Hey, Andrew, Greg.
Look at that. We can hear you.
Oh no, I bought the missus a new phone, so I've now inherited hers. But along comes a decent mic with that one.
no lag. Look at that.
You're right, Keith.
I know. But yeah, there is so many underrated species out there, as you say, with the Chromatus
Right,
as well.
Andrew.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, that it is one of my favourites, I must admit.
Yeah.
So where are we at? What we're chatting about?
Under. I forgot the word.
Underrated species in the
That's
hobby.
the one. Yeah.
Underrated species, the whole of the Brachypelma genus and the whole of the Tillicatl genus, man.
Okay.
I think because people tend to keep spiders and then they move away from those two genuses, don't they? And they go into old worlds and they forget about the new worlds, and they get into the. It's like I don't know. It's like hardman syndrome, isn't it? It's like I only keep pokies, don't like the Brachypelmas. that you know, especially with the Avics as well, when the piss they can do about the Avics,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I think a lot of people just look at the Brackies and think, nah, you're not violent enough for me. You're not strong enough with your venom for me. You're not fast enough for me. And at the end of the day, that's everybody cut the teeth on the Brackies and the Tillicatls, really, didn't we?
Yeah.
That's very true, actually.
I love my Brackies and Tillicatls as much as I love my Pokies and my Chilibrachius. You know what I mean? To the point where we got 300 slings over this way of the curly hairs.
That's a lot, curly. No.
Yeah. That's going to be fun on feeding day.
Oh yeah, it's going to be giveaway curly hairs for free day.
Be almost like people giving away the LP.
Sounds funny, but at least you actually see Brackies. That's what Bailey's bug blog just said. That is true, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
At least the Brackies stay out and about when you go near the enclosure. They're the ones that, when your mates come around, you're almost guaranteed that a Brackie or a Tillicatl is going to be sat somewhere going, all right, mate.
Well, it's the one that I always go straight to. As soon as anyone comes over, the one that's guaranteed to be out every single time is the one that everyone sort of overlooks, as you say, the ones that are underrated, and that's the Redney. That's always out in the open. It's always ready to go. As soon as anyone comes over, it's the first one I take him over to see, because it's also the one that you can go, do you know what? Let's take the lid off. Let's have a closer look at it, and it's just going to sit there and not do anything exciting, and get somebody an opportunity to. Yeah, it's not going to try and take someone's face off, which is the last thing you want when you introduce it to someone to your collection for the first time.
I mean, no spider's predictable, but the Brackies and the Tillicatls, you near enough know what you're dealing with when you take the lid off. They're not going to bolt it out like a HMAC, are they, or a true spider?
No.
You know what I mean?
Even if you look at a Ceratogyrus or something like that, all you're showing is a tub of dirt. Look at this hole.
Yeah.
Look. Yeah. Doesn't it look good?
Yeah.
That's all they see.
See, that was the main reason why I stopped keeping pretty much everything in what used to be the Haplopelma genus. It's the Cereopagopus now. But everything in that genus is exactly the same. It digs a hole, it lives in it. Every now and again, it will chuck a molt out, and that's it. I've steered clear of keeping stuff like that now for that purpose. I do much prefer my bigger display species. And yeah, I do like my Asian arboreals. I do like my old worlds and stuff like that. But I still like to have stuff that's on display, which is why I've got my big female LP, for example. She's always out and about. She sits right on the table, center for everyone to see. I've got a couple of Brackies as well. they're at the front of the collection. Everything else almost sits behind that.
Mm.
Yeah, the Chili Brachius I've got a Crankcracker, I've got the Discolus Blue, the Electric Blue,
Yeah,
the Fimbriatus. I'm thinking about getting rid of all of them apart from the Fimbriatus, because the Fimbriatus, both of my females will both come out, sit on top of their burrow
yeah,
when they're hungry.
yeah,
The others, I literally just see them once in a blue moon. And I'm thinking
Yeah.
about getting rid of those. Definitely. And I was doing a price check today actually on the Chili Brachius adult female, and I got told about 180 quid.
wow,
And I'm thinking, I'm not selling somebody a Chili Brachius Electric Blue that are going to see once when they rehouse it, and maybe on the occasional time that they feed it for that type of money. Absolutely ridiculous.
yeah. Although for me, I do love the Electric Blue. It's when you do see it, when it is out and about, when it throws you a bit of a fret posture, when it's feeding day, it's worth it to see those electric blue undersides of the legs. It is definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd pay 180 quid for one, mind.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. The thing that I'm thinking at the moment is because I'm more like my channel's all inverts, isn't it? So I like to get into anything that's sort of crawling around or flying around. So by getting rid of the majority of the burrowing species that I've got, it does open up my world a bit more.
Yeah.
Mm.
Keeps the misses keeps the enemy a little bit happier as well.
Yeah.
Instead
So
of getting rid
funny.
of some to get some.
Yeah, it's funny you saying that because I've been having a very similar conversation with my missus recently because I do the snakes. I breed the snakes, but then predominantly in terms of the invert world, it's most of my collection is tarantulas, and it always has been. But she likes all the other stuff. She likes the mantis, and she likes the roaches, and she likes other bits and bobs, and she likes other species of exotics like lizards and that sort of stuff. And she's really keen to get involved, and she wants to jump on and start to do a little bit on the channel and stuff as well. So we're kind of looking at doing the same sort of thing. We're going to broaden out a little bit and sort of not just do like so far everything on the channel's been just tarantulas, and now we're going to try and broaden it out a little bit more and introduce some more of the collection and sort of, especially as I said before, like obviously now it's coming up for sort of time for brumating all the snakes ready for breeding season early next year. I want to try and get all that sort of done and dusted so we can start sticking a little bit of that on the channel as well.
Exciting times, man.
Looking forward to it. It's going to keep me busy for a while.
Yeah, Greg says he sees his Electric Blue daily. Comes out most nights.
Lucky. I see mine once in a blue moon.
Yeah, Rob, it's all money, he says. People will buy for breeding. That's very true.
Yeah.
That is very true. I don't mind, personally, I haven't got an issue with people buying to breed because I do it myself. Buying to brag, I don't understand that part of it.
No.
Just to say that, I've got this spider and that's it. And I will never understand that kind of attitude or philosophy, if you like. Yeah.
So for me, it's just buying the stuff that I'm interested in, the stuff that I like the look of. I don't, obviously now I'm in a position where I'm kind of sharing my collection with other people, as in terms of, come see my collection, see what I've got. So, I do want to have some interesting stuff in there that appeals to a lot of people, but I still generally pick the stuff that I like, and I don't really care, if everyone agrees or disagrees and that sort of stuff. I like some of the crazy expensive species, and I like some of the really, really simple, not expensive species at all. And actually, most of my collection is made up of really, really low value species, but they're the species that I love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same as where I'm at now. Is that where I've bought, mystery box upon mystery box. I've got abundance of all sorts, and now I'm sort of limiting myself to just buying what I want rather than, you know, just I'll buy a mystery box and just try my luck, and then all of a sudden one spider out the 5 or 6 that turn up, and you go, oh yeah, I really want that one, but the rest of them, you just think to yourself, well, later on I'm just going to sell these or get rid of them or whatever you want to do with them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Keith just said 100% should have a reason to buy any pet, not just for the brag.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, 100%, Keith. 100%.
Not just spiders, snakes, lizards, because people have obviously bought bearded dragons just to say, oh, you know, look at my bearded dragon. And, you know, look at dogs, for an example. You know, a chav walking down the road swings his arms about if he's got a little rotty or something with him. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, you should have a good solid reason to be buying your pets in the first place. But I mean, I think majority of us have all fell into that mystery box purchase. I mean, I know I did in the early days. I bought quite a few as well. Looking back, I really wish I hadn't have bothered, because a good 40% of the actual slings are probably now passed away. But then the amount of money that I poured into mystery boxes as well as could have got me some exceptionally beautiful females. So instead of having 10 slings that sit in your cupboard, you could have one female that's like, you know, in something like this, that's out and about. So I think going down those lines, my advice to anybody getting into the hobby is save your money up and buy a decent spider. You know, just mystery boxes.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. You know, this is just my personal opinion. I can see why people do it, and I completely understand why people do it. And I've also run competitions where we're giving away mystery boxes and stuff like that. But for me personally, going forward, it's they're a bit of a pain in the bum. I do like, the only one I do like is the Spider Shops mystery box, but that's because, like I said earlier, I'm an invert freak. So, you know, I personally get those because I know I'm going to get a couple of tarantulas, sound wicked. I've got the room, all the rest of it. But then it's the little rare beetles and the little rare centipedes and stuff like that they chuck in as well. For me, is mind blowing. Do you know what I mean?
Totally agree with that.
I think as coming into the hobby, I think as a newbie, if you've got one spider and you're thinking about getting more, mystery boxes are probably something just to have a good think about. Do you know what I mean? More, like I said, more because of the amount of money that you plow into it. And let's face it, when you first get into the hobby, you first get a spider, you ain't got no heat mat, have you? You ain't got nothing. Let's be honest. You just put it in your room temperature, and you spray it every now and again until you start doing your research and reading up more and understanding about these beautiful creatures. So I think as a newbie for mystery boxes, no, I don't really like them too much for newbies, especially, like I said, when I was getting into the hobby. I wish I hadn't stayed away. But then I suppose the flip side of it is, you know, for a newbie to get a massive collection overnight, they're absolutely massive. But then we go back to the bragging rights of people going, oh, I've got 100 spiders. It's like, you've got 100 spiders. They're all tiny. You got them all from mystery boxes, and you probably don't know what half of them are, what countries they come from, or their requirements, or you probably don't even know if they're legal or illegal as well. So, you know, there is a lot of things to consider, I think, with mystery boxes. Run over.
But that also takes us back to our point last week that we were saying about, like, just people going in and impulse buying reptiles or snakes or whatever. You know, it's just, you know, they walk into a shop and think, oh yeah, I'd like that. Impulse buy it there and then 2 weeks, a month later, they're like, no, I don't want it now. And all of a sudden you see it up on Facebook for next to nothing, being passed over to the next person that would have it for a month, and, you know, whatever, and then it just get passed around.
It's like exactly. I said, half the reptiles we've got here, we got specifically in that way because within our area there's so many people that have gone out impulse bought stuff, realised that either they can't look after it, it's too expensive for them to look after it, or for whatever reason, and because they know that we keep this stuff, it ends up getting dumped on our doorstep. So a lot of our collection is stuff that's been taken in specifically for that reason, Tom. So it's a very good point. I don't think I don't think impulse buying within the invert and reptile world is a particularly smart thing to do at all. It's like I've always said, if you're gonna have any kind of pet, you know, it's worth doing the research. It's worth making sure you've got space. It's worth making sure you've got the resources and the means to be able to look after it and feed it and heat it and that sort of stuff. And if you haven't got that, or you're not prepared to do it, then you shouldn't do it. But unfortunately, people don't apply that common sense decision to it, do they? They don't. Common sense is falling by the wayside lately. You know, it's all about must have now, and then you end up with a lot of reptiles needing new homes.
The consequences.
Just going back to the comments, Keith put the risk with newbies getting mystery boxes, it could get teased out of their ability. Bailey said, this is why I save my money for true spiders at the minute.
Yeah.
I'd rather spend like £25 on something like a Sicarus or a H. David Barry. What I've always wanted now. The Sicarus are 6-eyed sun spiders, which are absolutely beautiful. I've got 2 small ones. And the David Bowie is the orange huntsman. Yeah. The orange fluffy huntsman you see.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning species.
That is the Bowie. I had one from the spider shop, which unfortunately passed away after about 4 weeks, but it was a wild caught specimen, so you can't blame the spider shop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we only started with mystery boxes just purely because there are so many species that I liked, and obviously going to the sea show, you're walking around and it's sort of like, it was our first show, so we were put on a budget really for it, and it was like, I didn't really know what to get. Yeah, I could have got that one nice, you know, like you say, one nice adult female, but it was just sort of like, there's so many that I want, because obviously at the time I only had 3 spiders, so it's like, and luckily enough, when I did buy the mystery boxes, there was quite a lot of species in there that I did actually want. I have ended up with a few that were a bit like, well, I wouldn't have personally bought them, but then there's also a few like my LSD Earth Tiger. I can't remember the name now.
H. Martha.
Yeah. I ended up getting one of them, and to be honest, I mean, over the time, I probably wouldn't have ended up spending like the 30 quid on a little sling like that. So there has been the odd occasional sort of mystery box where I've ended up with something, you know, that I wouldn't have personally probably gone and bought as a sling, just purely because of the money side of things.
Yeah.
Bailey's bug blog, brother. Bailey's bug blog. I'll get it right. He's just made a very valid point, which is the space issue.
Yeah.
So if you get loads of slings, you've obviously got a small shelf.
Yeah.
And then obviously you get more. You get another one. You've got a bit bigger shelf. Then you've got a bit bigger shelf. But in a year, 2 years time, you're going to need a bookcase size, aren't you? Because obviously all your enclosures are obviously going to go from tiny little pots up to bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, we were talking about this last week.
Yeah, obviously if you've got something like the Chilibrachius, I mean, my Crown Kraken, adult female, she's in 18 inches of substrate.
Yeah.
So that's something to bear in mind as well as with mystery boxes. You could get this tiny sling, which is going to need sort of, you know, this much substrate and this type of size enclosure just to feel okay. You know what I mean?
Same as when you talk about your Theraphoses or, you know, anything big, when you're talking about like your 45 cubes, you know, that's like a standard-ish size for something that sort of size. And even truthfully,
that's your minimum for a big LP or any kind of T-Sturm, anything like that.
Truthfully, you're talking about something like one of these Exoterras, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, 45 by 60 by 45 minimum.
Yep. I was looking at my sling pots the other day, and I was thinking back to Andrew Smith did a post, and he was saying, obviously, when he first started out, this is a long, long time ago, so you're looking at 30, 40 years ago, the spiders were kept in glass jars.
Yeah.
And I was thinking back, I thought, well, if spiders were kept in glass jars, we've got, I'm looking over there because that's where my slings are. You got the slings which are in sling pots, which are, remember the old camera reels?
Yeah.
Where you put your camera in those little camera pots.
Yeah, that's what I first started keeping slings in.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if those sling pots that this type of big, they're 25 milliliters or something. I'm wondering if they're actually big enough
Yeah.
Or because I was looking at the Spider Shop sling pots, they're a lot bigger.
Yeah, they're square.
We've got all the holes in around. So I'm thinking about moving. Well, I'm slowly moving all mine. You know, the very, very small clip boxes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll show you what I mean. Ba-bum, ba-bum. So currently, you know, that's your average normal sling pot.
Yep.
That's got a ladybird spider in it, which is absolutely tiny. But I'm currently moving all mine from little sling pots like this over to the bigger ones.
Okay, so
Yeah.
mini rubs.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
Mini,
Yeah, so mini rub.
really useful box.
They're pretty smart.
They're
I love
like-
those.
Aren't they like 0.3 of a litre or something stupid
Yeah.
like that, mate? Yeah, I've got some of them.
Yeah, it don't say, but I've got quite a few of those now.
Yeah.
And then with the little, I mean, I haven't got a Dremel because I'm not that posh. I just got the one straight out of the range. The range is the own little one for tiny little holes. Yeah. Raw Reptile says she uses these. You're right, Rennie. But yeah, I think it just gives them a bit more area. Maybe they'll do better in that. I don't know. So what I'm thinking about doing, especially now we've got all those slings with the curly hairs, is maybe putting 5 in these pots, 5 in those. Humidity the same, feed the same. Yeah. And then I've got definite proof for myself, which I can obviously then share. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I've got something in between. I'll show you what I've got mine in at a minute.
So we've got 11 people watching. Who's in the chat then? Let's have a quick look while he's popping off. Never had a problem with mine. Hey Scott, you all right? Yeah, I'm good, Rennie. You okay?
So obviously the same little sling
hello,
pots
Ronnie.
that you get, the same little sling pots you get all your spiders delivered in when they're posted. I keep everything in as slings for those. If they're sort of a little bit too big for those, but a bit too small for anything else, I've got these.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, those
Like little
are they the
sauce pots,
belly
aren't they?
pots?
Yeah, so basically like a
Yeah.
little belly cup that holds about just under 100 mil. It's like 90 mil. So I've got those. For the next size up, if you're looking at whether it's like a deep burrowing or an arboreal, then you've got these.
Yeah, I've got things similar to that.
Yeah, my ones are a little bit bigger.
And then I've got the square ones that they're selling at the moment. I've got the little hatch that you can open up for feeding. So I've got the square ones as well as those, and I've also got some arboreal ones, which are 200 mil pots, but they're sort of long cylinder pots, which are really good for arboreal stuff. After that, everything goes into these sort of arboreal wise, and most of my collection's arboreal, so
Yeah,
just little clear jars. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little P Metallica that's in there at the moment.
I keep a lot of the smaller true spiders and things like that.
Yeah, well, that's what I've got in these, Scott, in there. So they are. I've got 5 of these. That's the Cupienia Soleil.
Oh yeah,
I've
I've got
I'll tell you what.
150 of those. If you want any, PM me after this, and I'll quite happily send you some.
Yeah,
I've got I've got a female which is on her 2nd egg sac, and then I've got another male waiting in the background.
Okay.
As well.
I'll tell you, I was really impressed. I was really impressed with how fast they grow.
Rapid, aren't they? They do mature. They do mature after 12 months.
Yeah. One of the most impressive predators I have ever seen.
Have you got an Alphalax?
No. So I used to have the L Megathyloides. Yeah,
they're more gold, aren't they?
Yeah. They're quite impressive as well. But yeah, my all-time favorite on my list of non-tarantula spiders at the moment is the Macrotheli gigas.
Oh yeah, I know. Dan,
Japanese funnel web.
Yeah, one of my admins has got one. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I tell you what is a nice one to look out for is a Veridesi.
Okay.
They're like black and white stripes.
All right.
I can't remember the name of the genus people put them in now. Andrew Bailey's bug blog might remember actually. But there's two spiders that are very, very similar. One lives in caves and things like Viridaceus. Yeah.
Viridaceus, that's it.
But then the other one lives out and about and in the forests, and that hasn't got a genus name yet, but that'll be something worth looking out for.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
are beautiful, but my God, they are fast.
Yeah.
They are fast. I mean,
Yeah, these guys are so much fun. When these rocked up and I had to put all 5 of them into their new pots, they just gave me the runaround. It was hilarious. Just it was quite.
My friend was like, because I had 2 juvenile Sallys, and my mate was going on about him, and we're very good friends. You know, and he ain't got a lot, so I was like, yeah. I said, you can have one of my Sallys, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And within about 2 hours, he messaged me. He's gone, Scott. He went, I mean, you don't swear. He was like, it's a fucking psychopath, mate. Because I went to feed him. He just fucking running around and around like this. I was like, well, I did tell you.
Yeah.
Because it's in it was in one of those sweet jars about this big. I said it needs rehousing because it's. I said it was about that type of size. So 2 malts, it would have been adult. I said it needs rehousing. They like a lot more space than what you think they would.
Yeah.
For them to be nice and calm and relaxed, they like to feel like they're open. Give them a bit of open area, and that's where they'll sit a lot of the time. But obviously, while they're confined, they go schizophrenic almost, don't they? And psychopathic, so they will fly around and around and around. But
I tell you what, it's quite funny seeing how far they can actually fling themselves as well when they take a jump.
Oh, they're phenomenal. They're absolutely phenomenal. It takes us back. Don't ask me the science behind it because I can't remember. But I know there's some tarantulas that can use that burst speed where they go, boom, that's it, they're knackered. They have to get their breath back. And then you've got things like the true spiders, like especially the phalax, which can just go all day long.
Yeah.
And with speed, a good thing to look for is if they've got forward-facing legs and those legs are pointed, you know it's going to be a fast spider.
Yeah,
so if anybody's watching and thinking about getting into true spiders, do a quick Google. If you see the adults with forward-facing legs, literally like this, and those legs come down to tiny points, that is going to be one seriously fast spider.
Yeah.
A classic example is the Dolomedes, the fishing spiders.
Yes. Yeah.
They have got those type of shaped legs, and they are super, super fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I must admit I do really like my true spiders, but there's not quite so many people into them out there as there are with the tarantulas.
There is if you look. I know quite a couple of people that like their true spiders, but if you're looking at getting some, then the places to look at Europe. So check out Germany and Netherlands, like on the Polyped websites, stuff like that. But again, though, if you're looking for anybody watching again, if you're looking at going to Germany to buy a true spider or to buy anything from over Germany or that part of Europe, make sure it's legal in this country before you make your purchase.
Yeah.
Because you could buy it, it could be a brown recluse, and they will send it you, and you will get it. It will go straight through customs, all the rest of it, because customs with spiders
they don't know.
and other bits and bobs don't know what they're looking at. So they're just like, yeah, that's fine. It's not drugs. Send it on its way.
Yeah.
So you will get it. So just doubly, triply, quadruply make sure that is what you're buying is actually legal in this country.
Yeah, I used to get a lot of my true spiders from Thomas Vinman.
Yeah.
And he was the same. He sold quite a lot of stuff that's not necessarily legal over here.
Well, people even know that I've got a YouTube channel as well, which I find quite bizarre because they, I've still had people saying, "Oh, I've got this, I've got that," and I'm going, "It's fucking illegal, mate. I'm not having it." You know what I mean? They're going, oh yeah, but I'll do it for half price, or do it for you cheaper. And I'm like, you're not understanding what I'm saying. It is illegal.
Just get your license,
Yeah.
mate. Get yourself a license. You can have anything then.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's like I said. I've said this before. I spoke to the missus about a license, and she said, "Look, I'm quite happy with doing what with you doing what you're doing, all your inverts, spiders, everything else." She says, "I'm quite happy," and she is my number one fan, my other half. She has got a grumpy ass face, looks like a bulldog chewing the water half the time, but she is literally my number one fan, and she's quite happy with all this, and all the rest of it. But when it comes to having things that are illegal, DWA and the licenses, she says, before you think about it, wait till the kids have grown up, or moved out, because it's one thing me or you getting bit, but imagine if it was one of the kids, and these things are fast, or he says, or unless I can move everything away from the family house and maybe a shed, but I say a shed, for me it'd have to be a brick building, down the bottom of the garden, so everything's away, which is something I'm respecting of, respectful of what she said there, really. And like I said, none of this here would be possible without her. So for me to get that license, it's either going to be when we eventually move, fuck you, COVID, or when the kids grow up. So I think once the kids, I think once we move, if I can get something that's a house with a little building outside for the spiders and the inverts, and then I'll be looking at a license for sure.
Yeah, I've got a similar agreement with my missus. She's very much the same, and I wouldn't do it now. Not while the kids are so long. I mean, my two are like 4 and 5, so once they're a little bit older, it's definitely something I'm going to consider.
I mean, I think one of the requirements is to have lock tanks.
Yeah.
But,
so
I mean, everybody knows how long I've been doing it, and obviously yourself. And everything, but I mean, how many times have you popped out of the room, and you come back? This is just assassins in here, and you've seen that.
Yeah.
Because you've just watered it or you just fed it.
Yeah.
And I mean, what the fuck would you do if there was a brown recluse in there?
Yeah, or heaven forbid, brown recluse. Give you a bit of a nasty necrotoxic bite. But if that was a Brazilian wandering spider or something like that,
bye bye.
Oh, let's pull no punches. I mean, I've got a 5-month-old baby and a 2-year-old. Brown recluse bit one of those. It's no going back, is it?
No.
If you leave an enclosure open that way, much by accident, like I said, because we've all done it. Even if you're sitting at home going, "No, I didn't," it's like, yeah, you have, because we've all done it. If it was a big pokey, not too bad, because you're not going to see it in there, so it's got out, so to shut the door, strip everything out, find it. If it's something like a brown recluse or a wandering spider, the first 15 minutes is you staring in there trying to find it, and then after another half an hour, you're still looking in there trying to find it. Then you realise it's gone. And then you could be moving half of this stuff, and in a blink of an eye, it's somewhere else.
Could be anywhere.
Yeah, so that's another reason, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I think most tarantulas are, quick enough that you don't really need a DWA license, or don't really have to warrant getting one, really, because at the end of the day, there is quite a lot of stuff out there that are on DWA, but there's a lot of stuff within the hobby that you don't need a DWA for, that's just as pleasant to own.
Yeah, and it's the same. It's the same with the tree spiders. If you keep things like Huntsman or like the Cupienius soleil and stuff like that, they're equally as fast, equally as impressive looking, and that sort of stuff as anything that you can get that's got you need a license for. And actually some of the species that you can get, some of the species of huntsman that you can get now, so you've got the Heteropoda David Bowie, for example, absolutely stunning species. The Heteropoda Lanula. Yeah, absolutely stunning species. I have to find some of them, by the way. If you know any going, Scott, let me know. But that is better than anything that you can find that you need a license for in terms of what they look like and stuff like that.
I think with Lunas, I think So Many Legs had them in. I have seen them.
Yeah. I
I'm
haven't
sure.
I haven't physically seen one since I went to Ham about 6 years ago. I bought two back, which was a pair from Ham, and after three or four weeks of bringing them back, they were
Greg
dead.
just said try So Many Legs.
Yeah.
It
I'll have to check
might
them
be worth you asking Greg actually, because he knows a hell of a lot of keepers.
Yeah.
Sarli and Bowie, So Many Legs have some in. If anybody wants Sarli, just knock me up. Just pay for the postage, and I'll quite happily send you out some slings. But they are ever so tiny.
Yeah. I will definitely have some off you, Scott. So I'll PM you after this.
Yeah. No worries. No worries.
So the other thing I want to do as well, a little bit later on, once I've got everything sort of set up and I've got it the way I want to do it, is I want to get another couple of Nephilah.
Some golden ore beavers.
Yeah. So I used to have one, and it used to live free roaming in a frame hanging from the ceiling in the living room.
Pretty much everyone does that with their.
Wayne,
everyone does it with their weavers, don't they?
Greg's just put there's the link for the Luna from So Many Legs.
Okay, I can't see a link.
The link's not come up, but I'm sure if you go on So Many Legs website.
Yeah,
I knew he'd.
I'm just heard.
Yeah, awesome. I'll check them out now. Thanks, Greg. Much appreciated. I'm going to get on there in a minute.
Bailey's Bug Blog just said So Many Legs and Unseen Universe do good truths for the UK people. It's also worth giving Tony Webb Venomous Visions a quick inbox, because if he's getting something in that you're interested in, he will message you before he's even got it. Brilliant. Which is always always a good thing.
Yeah, so this is what I've missed out on. So after taking such a long break from the hobby, all of the contacts and that sort of stuff that I made before have all moved on, and they're all doing other stuff now, with the exception of a couple of guys out in Germany and one guy out in Poland. Most of my contacts now are just non-existent. But I had a big break from the hobby, so.
To be fair, Wayne, you get chatting on some of the groups, and then suddenly you got all the contacts you'll ever need.
Yeah.
Even just doing stuff like this.
I mean, I don't really call them contacts, because half of my contacts are really good friends.
Yeah.
There's a guy that I'm getting some few bits in next week. They're not true spiders, not tarantulas, but there are a couple of little things that I've been after for a while. He's over in the Netherlands, and I'm gonna chat to him quite a lot. I'd say near enough every other day at least. Not necessarily about spiders or stuff like that, but that's the hobby, innit? That's the hobby that we're in. We'll chat, we'll get together because of tarantulas, and then suddenly we're talking about centipedes or what the missus is up to on a Friday. It is it is one of those hobbies that brings everybody together, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really enjoying sort of spreading back out and getting back into it now. Like I said, I started my journey into the sort of tarantula world 25 years ago. So
has it changed much, Wayne?
Yeah, massively. Yeah,
what would you say, like the big, apart from the internet and Facebook and Google, what would you say the biggest differences have been?
The volume of keepers out there. So there's a lot more. And again, you say apart from things like the internet and Facebook and stuff like that, it's the volume of keepers. And I think because of the internet, because of Facebook, because of Instagram, YouTube and stuff like that, it's opened it up to a lot more people. So you get people that potentially would never have got into the hobby, that maybe would have seen stuff every now and again at a trip to a local pet shop, who now don't have to go to a pet shop to see this sort of stuff.
Would you say like 25 years ago, keeping spiders was one of them things that you wouldn't have bothered telling your mates about? It was a bit more.
Yeah.
It was like almost train spotting, if you like.
It was
And
much
now
more
because
taboo. Yeah.
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 Yeah, but because obviously the internet and obviously people talk and all the rest
Yeah.
of it, it's got a bit more sociable.
Yes, definitely.
I mean,
Bailey's Bug Blog just made a good point. So he's saying about, like, in terms of the way things have changed, how friendly the shows were. So when I first started going to like things like the BTS meets and stuff like that, way back when, everything was friendly, and you could guarantee if I rocked up at any one of those meets that, you know, I probably knew, you know, a good third of the people that turned up who were sort of diehard hobbyists, that they were people that I would have spoken to quite regularly. And it's very different now when you go to the shows. You don't have that friendly environment anymore. People don't have the patience around the tables and stuff like that. It's cram packed a lot more than it used to be, you know. And it's just changed massively. It's become a lot more commercialized than what it used to be. Whereas before, going to the shows was something you did as part of the hobby. Now going to shows, it's like going to a meat market. You know, it's all people pushing and shoving to get to the front of the table, haggling over prices and that sort of stuff. And, you know, 20 years ago when you used to go to the BTS, like, open days and stuff like that, it was never like that. You know, it was a lot more chilled out, and it was a lot more sort of, you got a chance to stand at the tables and have a chat with these people, because they were, you know, they weren't doing it for a business. These were people that used to just bring their collections along and whatever tarantulas that they'd managed to breed and stuff like that, and have their own tables. So you'd stand there and have a really good chat with some of these people, and you just don't get that opportunity anymore. So yeah, definitely, I do think that the shows were much more friendly back then.
I like the smaller shows because of that reason. BTS 2019 nearly put me off going to any more shows.
Yeah.
Until only the first 30 minutes, and then I got my head around it, and then it was all right. But there was just one YouTuber, because I weren't doing YouTube back then, who virtually pushed me out the way to go and speak to female as well, to go and speak to Inverted Ben, because obviously, you know, subscriber count wants to get on their video and all the rest of it. And then the other part of it was obviously that commercial. You're almost on a conveyor belt. It's like walking around IKEA almost. You know, the queue's pushing you along. So you're like, you know, you're going, hi, how much is that? Oh, right. And where does that spider come from? Oh, sorry, I've got to go next table.
Yeah.
It's a bit of the generation game, really.
Yeah, but then you've got places like, you got like the Spider Shop, where they will spend time with you. They will spend time chatting. Tony from Venomous Visions again. He will spend time chatting. Yeah. Hadley from Fantastic Tarantulas as well. I found him absolutely flipping phenomenal. He will chat your ear off all day long. And for me, the shows that I went to last year, more about the social side of it. Not so much YouTube, because I like to put my camera in my pocket and have a good chat with people that I actually genuinely know. Which I find really, really good. Sean Smith as well from Weird and Wonderful. He had a lot of time for people as well. But they're just, like I said, they're just a couple that stuck out in my mind. But like you said, I love that, like, one-to-one little time where you get with a seller, and it's just like, just to find out those little snippets of information instead of, this is a tenner, give me the money. You know what I mean? That type of stuff means the world to me, and just chatting with complete strangers in the queues as well.
Yeah,
you know, you can't do that going to Asda, can you? Or
no,
or walking next.
And we're a weird bunch, aren't we? When we get together, we are a weird bunch.
Oh, Mark Ashton just put, I noticed that C's people had no time for disabled people. They couldn't get to the tables. People never give them a chance. Now, I have got, I kind of put my foot down with stuff like that. I mean, Greg's just put completely. Oh no, Greg's just said Mark Ashton completely disagree. So if Greg says he disagrees, then sorry, I think that's all good. But if somebody was to stop a disabled person or somebody with mental health issues getting to a table or something, there's anywhere near me, then I would definitely say something. I'm not somebody just to walk away from something like that.
Yeah, so
I'm also somebody that would do it quietly. You know what I mean? I think.
I mean, truthfully, just to be pushed away from the table anyway, no matter who you are, you shouldn't have to feel like you're being forced away, or that you shouldn't be able to get to a table just because someone wants to literally stand there and take up like 4 people's spaces almost.
Wow. Bailey's Bug Blog just said the Spider Shop people were ace. They actually popped to another table seller to find me the spider that he wanted.
Wow.
Yeah, that's genuine.
And Greg is obviously 8 legs, 4 wheels. Shows are always fine. Never ever had an issue of feeling like not being able to get to tables. So I think it's an issue that's not really an issue.
Yeah.
Martin said they kept pushing me and Peter out of the way, so I left. Ooh.
I think it also comes down to the people that are in front of you. So a lot of people are going to be quite genuine with things and say, yeah, come on through. But then you do get your arrogant people that are just going to stand there and not really care who you are or what you are, basically. And, you know, they want to get their deals before anyone else gets them, regardless of whether or not they're buying anything or not.
Exactly. I suppose it depends with if you've gone into a show and you're on your own, you've got a certain amount of people around you that are going to walk around that show with you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because it's almost part of a queue. So if you get into a bit where there's some plonk donks, it might be worth it just going, well, go and have a coffee. So or just stand back, let them go off and then move in. I mean, because I can't. It's like IKEA for me, does my mental health in completely.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You have to follow their little thing, go all the way around everything that you can't be asked to look at and stuff. And it ends up being a bit like you're being forced around a U-bend of a toilet. You know, I absolutely hate it. So at places like BTS and shows, when the crowd's going this way, I'm kind of going all over the place. Literally, they tested acid on spiders, didn't they? And the webs were like this. Yeah. I reckon that is literally how I go around a show.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. Because you do, don't you? When you go in, you don't get your money straight out of your pocket, do you? You go in, you have a strategic look around and see what's what, and then you go and get a few little bits and pieces, and then you know in the back of your mind what tables you've seen on, and you think to yourself, "Oh, I'll go back there." So you go back a few times to see if it's getting to the end of the day, and there's an opportunity to get something a little bit cheaper and stuff like that. And that's the way you do it. You can't just go round it in one direction out the door. You don't go to a show like that.
No, I'm really, 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 really hoping BTS goes on this year.
See, I'm holding out for Kempton Park as well.
Sorry?
I'm hoping Kempton Park's on this year as well. So the AES trade show at Kempton Park.
Oh, okay.
You not been to that one?
Nope.
Okay,
no,
so that's
I went to a lot of the shows last year, but more went to the entomological shows, went to the invert shows, went to BTS.
Yeah, so
that was about it. I think the only one we missed was the Northern.
Yeah, every October, it's usually the first weekend in October every year, the Amateur Entomology Society holds a trade show at Kempton Park Racecourse in London.
Okay.
That's a massive event. It's enormous. And you usually end up with like just about everybody that's UK and European based will turn up and have a table there for that. That's one that I used to go to religiously. I'm hoping that's on this year. According to their website, it's still going. They haven't cancelled it on their website this year. So I'm really hoping that it's still on. And obviously it's not too far for me to travel either. I generally don't get a chance to go up to like the Northern Invertebrate Show and stuff like that because it's a little bit of a trek for me. And to drag the family out, it's hard to do that in a single day.
I've done it, mate. We went down to Essex last year, which was 2.5 hour drive. There, 2.5 hour drive back. But like I said, My missus is phenomenal. Can't she will literally swap round with the kids and all sorts, sit between them and play with them, chat with them all the way up and all the rest of it. So, like I said, I'm quite lucky there. But then, I've also got in my armory a Layla. She's, you've obviously seen Layla on the channel. She will sit and play with the two boys all day long in the back of the car until we've got to where we're going. Yeah, she's phenomenal. Yeah, Greg says he's been to Kempton once. Pretty big and packed show.
Yeah.
Sat nav for the Doncaster show. Took Bailey's bug plug into the racecourse.
I suppose that's one way to go around the show, isn't it? Do it in your car. Move everyone out the way.
That would be pretty cool, wouldn't
it? Spider shopping on speed.
There you go, Scott. We've been told off.
Scott, Wayne, give James and Tom time to talk.
So it's time for me to shut up for a little bit now. Anyway, I need to go and get a fresh cup of coffee. So,
you know what Conor McGregor would say to that, don't you? Who the fuck is that guy?
Right.
Yeah. 2 secs. Plug your channel or something, Scott.
Hi all, just realised you were streaming the Missing Sector. I've just seen AMK Tarantulas on as well, Paul. You're right, Paul. Rob's Inverts and Exotics. I'm a Cov guy. Alright. Cov Inverts. Yeah, there is a couple of us from Coventry now, Rob. There's me, yourself, Northern Exotics as well. He's a Coventry born and raised lad as well. When is the next show? I think it's that one in October they've just been chatting about. I think.
Smashing the place up.
Hold on, let me just gotta send a message or try. Hold on, I shall forward that. Nothing works when you want it to, does it? I've just sent that. I just got a message, so I just dropped that one straight over to Tommy Boy. Can't believe it's my birthday, 9 bloody days. Where the hell is the year gone? Greg, it's COVID, mate. COVID is just like took over this year, and it's just come on that quick. It's absolutely crazy, isn't it, mate? Literally, the summer. We started off in February. The next minute we know it's towards the end of the summer, and now it's beginning of autumn. It's like what's going on?
Well, did you reply to this one for him? There's meant to be another show, obviously, the next BTS, isn't it? But who knows if it's actually going to be going ahead. It's, like we were just saying then, I mean, how can you do, like a one-way system around a show like that? Like you say, eventually you end up sort of crisscrossing back over as you're taking your walk round. try and get back whatever you want to get.
Yeah. Oh, good, Paul. Sorry. That is the other issue, anyway, with the shows is obviously people's own justified paranoia around COVID.
Yeah.
And then people's, so you can have the sensible people with the masks and the gloves on, taking their time, keeping that social distancing. Then you can have the arseholes which don't care. They just want to get in, get their stuff, push you out of the way, and then go. And then you're going to have obviously the people that wearing the mask because it's all a conspiracy theory and COVID don't exist, which is going to be a nightmare. But I think if everybody needs to wear a mask, everybody needs to wear their gloves, and everybody needs to keep 2 meters distance. And if you don't believe in wearing the masks, or if you think it's a government conspiracy and COVID-19 doesn't exist, then just do it for the people that do think it exists. Do it for the people that
Hello, Robbie.
feel a bit paranoid. Keep that distance just for them instead.
Yeah.
It's just that thing. Is it going to work with like a one-way system around it, or because then once you go all the way round, if you want to go back to a cellar, how's it going to work?
I don't know. It's going to be a difficult one, isn't it?
I mean, the only possible way is maybe to like split it over 2 days or something like that.
Yeah, well, it is possible, really, isn't it? Because it could be the weekend.
And then maybe some sort of ticketed event or something, because normally you've got to pay on the door anyway, haven't you? So I didn't know, maybe if you then done it as like 5,000 one day, 5,000 another or something, and just done it as tickets. But then I still don't quite know how you do a system round it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a strange one. I mean, I'm relatively lucky-ish, I suppose, because I'm working one of the stalls on and off throughout the day.
Okay.
Yeah, fantastic. Tarantulas will be on with Hadley.
Yeah.
On and off. But I suppose in one respect, it does have a one-way system anyway. I suppose responsibly, we've all been taught to drive on the left, walk on the left at school. So if we apply that type of thing, then each aisle where you've got sellers on this side and this side, if we keep to the left, we should all be all right, because then we will be moving this side, cutting across, coming onto the other side, and then coming back down the left.
Yeah.
And then if we all keep that 2 meter, I know they brought it down to 1 meter now, but if we all keep that 1 meter distance, as well as maybe that's possibly the only way that it can be done. I don't know. I mean, for me, those face masks are probably the best way, because the actual masks that you wear don't protect your eyes, do they?
No.
It is a hard one.
Well, I suppose we'll find out within the next month, won't we?
Hopefully, fingers crossed, touch a bit of wood, we'll all be vaccinated and everything will be hunky-dory by then. Who knows?
Just going to wait and see.
Do you know when you've got a collection? Just going to change the subject for you a little bit. And you've got your water sprayer, and you've got one of those little water sprayers like this, haven't you?
Yeah.
That's when you know you've got problems.
Yeah.
That's when you know you're addicted.
Yeah.
And what bought it the other day?
Yeah, pump sprayer with a little strap on it so you can hang it on your shoulder while you're spraying.
It's awesome, absolutely awesome. If you're worried about your pokies or anything jumping out, you can just go in with that, spray around, job done.
Yeah.
You can even close the door down on that. Oh. And it weren't me that seen that. It was the missus that seen that.
My last one blew up on me, so that's why I've gone back to like little ones again.
How did it blow up?
I don't actually know. Just
blow up?
I pumped it one day, and just all of a sudden the pump sort of exploded at the bottom of it. So
what? One too many pumps then?
Possibly.
We had one too many pumps and I exploded, so I did. Oh dear.
So that's what you get, typical cheap stuff off of eBay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was a Spear and Jackson one. It come off Amazon, but it was the enemy that found it, and she was like, "You want one of these? It will save you like 2 hours. It always takes you ages when you do water, and if you get one of these, it'll be done in half an hour." And on this,
it's not so much that if you're using. So I've got a small pump top sprayer, and that's okay because obviously you pump it up a little bit, you give it a spray, done. But if you're still working off of an old-fashioned trigger sprayer,
yeah,
if you're doing a big collection, after a while your forearm really starts to kill you.
I can't see it, but yeah, that's exactly what I have.
A little finger pump.
Yeah,
I could kind of spray it like this all day long because with work my hands are quite strong anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that thing is just pump and spray, and I can spray the stepdaughter with it completely now. Instead of just one little, I can proper give her a good drench and really annoy her.
Chase at the same time as well.
Yeah. Does calcium build up, block them up, Bailey's? But Andrew, yes. I think, yeah, but wouldn't that take a severe amount of time for calcium to build up?
It takes. If you're in a hard water area, so my last one, that's the reason it went out and stopped working. So that the pump on it got jammed because it was all built up with limescale, and that took about 10 months in a hard water area.
So have you talked your missus into letting you get a snake yet? Almost, Rennie. Almost. Fingers crossed. The hog nose is in the post somewhere. Andrew says strong right arm.
You know that, Mark.
Bye, Mark.
I see you, Mark. Take care.
Yeah, I still keep looking at green tree python or an emerald tree boa. But,
yeah.
You're talking lots and lots of money.
Yeah.
See,
not quite so much money, but they're I think they're massively underrated, are the Amazon tree boas. So if you like an arboreal species of snake that doesn't get too big, that looks amazing in a nice live planted setup, the colours aren't quite as bright and vivid as a GTP or an emerald tree boa or something like that, but they are just as stunning as the Amazon tree boas, and you can generally pick them up for about 90 quid as a baby. They are massively underrated.
Yeah, there are a lot of snakes out there that are quite nice, but I think when it comes to things, it's just a boreal sort of like takes my pick over everything.
I think majority of people are like that, aren't they? Because I think if it's a boreal, it's like up there. It looks ready for action, doesn't it? It's ready to go. But away from the inverts, a snake is definitely something I want to get, and Pac-Man frog as well. Love a Pac-Man.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
the missus was saying today about Pac-Man frogs, actually. I don't like them.
I don't like them.
just a plain simple answer.
That's not fair. That's not fair. I don't dislike them. I'm indifferent. I've never, apart from things like dart frogs, I've never really been that interested in keeping amphibians. But you know, yeah, the missus really wants to get one. She thinks they're awesome.
I want one. That's
Pac-Man frogs.
the only place I've seen anywhere near me is dart frog are gorgeous, Mrs. Yeah, the flipping are gorgeous. They're like 45 quid for babies, and that's a good 12 mile down, 12 mile back drive for me as well. So I might, but we've got so much to do this month though. I doubt if I'll get one this month.
Yeah.
They do get pretty large though, Pac-Mans. Yeah. They sit on your hand quite nice and comfortably.
That's cool.
But you just got to watch the teeth. That's all.
Yeah.
Is that why? Is that why? Is it? But yeah, I mean, I like quite a lot of amphibians, like all the frogs and stuff. Most dart frogs, most of the tree frogs. I mean, colorations on a lot of them are great as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Murray being told off.
Off what?
Just keeping an eye on the battery on the laptop.
Yeah, saying about the dart frogs. So we were talking about last week. So one of the things that I'm trying to sort out at the moment is a bit of a communal setup. So I'm going to do it as a live planted semi-aquatic sort of paludarium with an island, and I want to do that for dart frogs and morning geckos. And I want to put some little neon tetra in the aquatic section. I think that'll look pretty cool when it's done. Still no closer to getting any progress made on that whatsoever.
No, my two little projects, or say two little projects, they're still just sat as they are. I mean, I haven't got round to doing anything with them just yet. Luckily enough, I spoke to a mate of mine over the weekend though, so I'm going to get some glass ordered up with him now that he's all caught up with work and stuff, and that he's able to do it for me. As I say, I want to convert 2 fish tanks so that the front's going to be sliding front glass instead of top opening. And then we just go from there then with it. I haven't really got any plans. I mean, I've got a nice big bit of wood, like a nice tree stump basically, with a few bits coming off of it that I want to like make as the main feature of it. But other than that, I don't really know anything else.
It's one of those things you don't really see it start taking shape until you start doing stuff with it. I mean, you can get a basic idea in your head of what you want it to look like, but it's not until you start putting things in there, layering in the background and stuff like that, that you really start to see actually, you know, how it's going to look, and then you start adding a few extra bits and pieces. I don't think anything I've worked on like that has ever turned out exactly the way I envisioned it to start with. Everything sort of ended up slightly different.
Yeah, that, you know, you just find bits over time, don't you? Eventually you buy things, or like you buy something, then all of a sudden you find something different.
Yeah.
and you just think to yourself, well, maybe I should use this instead.
Yeah.
That's why with mine, I haven't actually like looked for any sort of main centerpieces for it, because I have my centerpiece for one of them, and it actually fits like dead in the tank as well.
Yeah. So,
which was quite a result when I picked it up.
yeah.
Rob said you can't get enough water with the dart frogs, but they need
Yeah,
a tiny amount of breeding, don't they?
Yeah, so no, I've just noticed that. I think Rob's just got a little bit confused with what I was trying to say. So I know dart frogs aren't aquatic. I wasn't planning on doing aquatic setup for them. It's a semi-aquatic setup. So there is two portions to it. There is a portion of land that will have the peat moss, the sphagnum moss, and that sort of stuff that the dart frogs will live in. And then there is a separate section to that that will be thick. See you later, Greg. Have a good evening, dude.
Gone as well. Scott's gone as well.
So yeah, I mean, I've seen it done a few times now with the same sort of setups. And the idea is to have just sort of like about 2 inches of water in the bottom on one side, and the other side is going to be completely sort of like a land mass. So
yeah, as long as you've got something coming up and out the water, basically, like just like a stone walkway or something for them to walk up.
It's not a straight drop off.
Yeah, that's it.
The idea is to build all the background and put the tubing in for the waterfall that goes down into the water selection, that sort of stuff. Is all going to be built out of landscaping foam, so like waterfall landscaping foam and stuff like that, and then sealing it all in.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about using that coir matting, basically, like doing a polystyrene background, carving it all, but obviously sticking it down, and then just running the coir matting over the top of that, and then siliconing it down, and then then you can just like pin all your mosses and plants straight to that.
Yeah,
that was another way I was thinking about doing mine. And it's same with, obviously, I suppose if you were to come and do any reptile tanks or any tarantula tanks or anything, you can apply the same sort of method.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Greg off. See you later, Greg.
But yeah, that was the same as mine. When I was building my first one, I had a waterfall coming down into just a little pool. It wasn't there for fish or anything, but it was, like you said, it was about 2 inches deep. But I basically had just stone all the way through it, just smooth pebbles. So there was only actually like maybe half an inch of water there. But, it was the idea of an actual pool.
Yeah.
That's how they do actually. That's how they drink, isn't it? Through their skin, through all their pores. They actually drink the water, by sitting in it.
I'm just going to pop and make a cup of tea in that, I think. I'll be back in a moment.
All right, mate.
Not a problem. But yeah, that's what I've found now. Obviously, with having my red-eyed tree frog, I found in the end that you actually had to have some sort of water dish in the bottom of it, so that then they can go and sit in it, so that they can also have a drink. It's all very well and good like spraying them down, but if they haven't actually got somewhere to go and sit in a pool of water, then it's not actually too good for them.
No, and if you look at dart frogs in the wild and stuff like that as well, is what they will generally tend to do is they will find areas within like the tree canopy and that sort of stuff, and and like with little like hollow bits of water that collect up in the leaves and stuff like that, and that's generally how they'll sort of rehydrate and stuff. So Rob's just asked that question again. Yeah, so Rob, the idea is to do basically a 2-part tank that is about 3 foot wide by 15 inches deep. It's about 2.5 foot high, so there's going to be an arboreal section to that. 1/3 of the tank is going to be partitioned off with a slope running down into sort of like a shallow pool of water, and the rest of it is going to be a land mass.
Yeah, they
And
can live in
obviously-
bromeliad leaves.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then obviously the dart frogs will live in the area that is the landmass with the live planted set up and all that fun stuff. And then I've got some mourning geckos that will live arboreally in the arboreal section. That's the plan anyway.
Now, have you thought about how you're splitting it? Are you going to use like a piece of acrylic or glass as like an angled section, and then, or are you going to try and use like filter foam or?
No, so the idea is, in terms of how I'm going to partition it, is to basically build most of it out of waterfall foam. So build it out of waterfall foam, and then sort of add a layer of gravel and sand and that sort of stuff, so it has a natural bank. When it's got a more natural bank and that sort of stuff, obviously it'll all be sealed in with a PU pond sealer and that sort of stuff, something that's like wildlife friendly, and that sort of stuff. And then, yeah, like I say, so I'm not talking about having like a massively deep tank full of water. It is only having a very, very shallow section. And if you look at some of the very, very shallow streams and stuff, I mean, even if you look at sort of inside bromeliad leaves in tropical rainforests and stuff like that, there are small species of fish, very, very small tropical fish, like certain types of tetra, that will actually live inside the pools of water in bromeliad leaves and stuff like that. So having a very shallow pool of water with a very small species of tetra or something like that just adds an extra bit of diversity to the enclosure. So it's like I said, Rob's just said again, frogs and geckos are good, but he's confused about the fish. So yeah, what I'm saying is that shallow pool of water section of it will have a very small species of tropical fish in it.
The thing is, as long as the as long as the frogs actually have some way of getting out of the water pool, you know, then they're dart frogs aren't actually swimmers as of such, but they can like get themselves back over to a section of land, and as long as there's then a slope for them to then get back out onto the land part, 9 times out of 10 you're perfectly fine, as long as you've then, you know, you've not got a big mass of water, as long as it, like you say, as long as it's nice and shallow, and then they can find an edge somewhere to then climb back out.
Yeah, and I said that's the idea of having it sloping down, like with a decent gradient. It's like I said, it's not going to be a sheer drop off. Rob's asked what tetra. I don't know what tetra. I'm not really all that clued up with the fish and stuff yet, and that's actually still part of the research side of it, which is why I haven't really done anything else with it yet, because I'm still in the process of trying to figure it all out and how it's going to work and what the best way of doing it is and the best species of fish to use in there. So
yeah, I think your generic tetras are just your neon tetras, aren't they, with the blue stripes down, you know, blue and black striped tetras that, you know, that normally only get to, I don't know, sort of like maybe a centimetre long.
Yeah, they're not particularly big. Like I said, Mrs. has spent more time dealing with fish than I have. She used to keep tropical fish. I'm generally stuck with reptiles and inverts and stuff. So this will be my first little bit of crossing over, I suppose, into doing something that encompasses a bit of all sorts.
Picture out your comfort zone.
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, I really, it's a project I want to do. I kind of like the design aspect of it. I really enjoy the design aspect of putting it all together and building it and that sort of stuff. And you know, I think the most important thing for me is making sure that it's set up correctly for the species that are going to be living in it. You know, and then sort of, yeah. So like I said, I'm still sort of like in the research phase at the moment in terms of specifically what. I'm settled on the dart frogs. I'm settled on the morning geckos. In terms of what fish are going in it, I don't know yet. But the idea is it will be a species of very small tropical fish that will live in a very shallow pool, basically. Ooh. Australian rainbow fish. I have to check those out. They sound cool.
Yeah, I've not heard of them ones myself, actually. So you say you're set on your frogs. Are you willing to share? Hey, Jaden.
Hey, welcome back, Jaden. So in terms of the frogs, I want to get some Azurus blue dart frogs. So
Yeah,
I really like the Azurus blue dart frogs. There was a little bit actually that was kind of considering things like, have you ever seen golden mantellas?
Yeah, they're like the yellow and blue, aren't they, or whatever? The gold and blue, are they?
They're not the most spectacular looking species of frog, but have you heard them sing?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're amazing and they sound absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, they're part of the Detrobates, aren't they?
Dendrobat, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I was thinking of doing the golden mantellas to start with, but I do prefer the look of the Azurus blue dart frogs. It's that electric blue.
Yeah. Well, I quite like the Leucomeles, the yellow ones, the bumblebees, I think they are.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're quite cool as well. I mean, they're just another sort of, not the most vibrant of species of dart frog out there, but they get to quite a nice size that they're normally they're normally a species that are roaming quite a lot as well. They're out during the day and night, and you can always hear them. And normally, if you walk up to the tank, you can see a couple of them out roaming about and doing what they do.
Yeah. That's kind of what you want with a setup like that. Anyway, you want something that's going to be on display a little bit more. That's going to be out and about. And that's why I wanted to go for something like the morning geckos, because morning geckos are diurnal, so they're not nocturnal like a lot of species of geckos are. They're diurnal, so they'll sort of wander about as and when. They'll come out sort of dawn and dusk. They'll be out a little bit during the day. So they're just sort of out all over the shop. So I thought that would be quite nice. They don't get too big either.
I was told that about my red-eyed tree frog though, that they're quite active day or night and everything else. My one seems like it's broken. It only comes out at night. They sold me a duff one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same with this pair of black milk snakes that I've got. So one of the things that I was told about them initially, and one of the things that I found out when I did all the research is that they're also supposed to be diurnal. So they're also sort of out and about as and when during the day and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, since we've got them and I've got them set up and I've put them in their nice new bioactive set up vivariums that are behind me at the moment, I think I've seen one of them out twice in the past 2 weeks, and the rest of the time they just hide away. Which is a shame because they're absolutely stunning. They're jet black and they've got that beautiful oil slick iridescence to them. Yeah, not a lot of them around at the moment.
Yeah, so normally when people talk about milk snakes, you just think about your standard red, white, and black ones, don't you? Your banded.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that I really love about the black milk snakes is the black milk snakes, when they first hatch out as babies, that's what they look like. They've got those red, black, and white bands. And it's only when they sort of reach about sort of between 6 and 10 months, as they start to reach more towards adulthood, then they start to change and go jet black. So it's like an indicator of when they're mature, really, is when they go completely black. That's when they're adults. But the fact that they start off looking like standard milk snakes and then change over time, I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it's quite amazing sometimes when you look at some of these animals that have such a change and drastic change sometimes of their colorations from being so tiny all the way through to then once they become adults.
Yeah.
You know, there's species of, I mean, even praying mantises, some of them you look at them and then by the time they get their wings when they're mature, it's unreal. Or tarantulas, you look at like a Panther species that starts with like a little Christmas tree on its butt, and next minute it turns out to be a big purple tarantula or something.
Yeah. And that's so often the case with those as well, is it always generally tends to be the males that turn into something spectacular. Yeah, that's pretty smart. I like panthers for that.
That's it. You get the versicolors as well. They start off as a little blue sling. GBBs.
Yeah, go for a drastic change. Yeah. So what's your, if you had to pick what you consider to be the most beautiful species of tarantula in the hobby at the moment, what would you pick?
Probably be a Versi.
Okay.
I just like that. They just, to me, they sort of like have a metallic look to them.
Yeah.
You know, they've got that sort of like purpley reddish sort of color, but it's more of like a shiny metallic color, isn't it, rather than just a standard almost matte color.
Yeah.
Like when you look at, say, like your P Metallica or something like that, they're nice and blue, but they don't have that sort of shine to them, do they?
No.
I mean, I think if you look at your electric blue, that sort of, your Kilobrachys electric blue, that sort of has quite a shine to it, doesn't it? Once they reach sort of more adulthood.
Yeah. See, I like that. I like that metallic, that sort of metallic coloration. So things like the LSD Earth Tiger, for example, is absolutely stunning because of that epic metallic. Do you know what it reminds me of? Do you remember the old chameleon paint you used to get on TVRs?
Yeah.
That's what they remind me of. They remind me of like an old TVR with that first generation chameleon paint. I think for me, always will be, always has been, my favourite in terms of sort of detail and colour has got to be the P Subfusca, the Highland.
Yeah.
There is just something about it with those sort of almost gold colouring and then that metallic purple sheen that you get on the femurs. Yes, just that does it for me every time. That's without a doubt.
I think the Mirandas
has been. Mirandas have got that same
bit
purple sheen to them as well. That's pretty cool.
They're quite a underrated pokey, I think.
Yeah.
You know, regardless, you get like pretty much everywhere and anywhere, but you know, Mirandas, I find are a little bit further in between. You don't always seem to find them.
Yeah. Yeah, the P Tigrina Wesseli is about the same as well. It's got that same sort of purplish sheen to it, which is really nice. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Those subtle difference. You say like everyone goes for a P Metallica. There's a lot of blue. It's got the bright yellow on the underside of the legs. Yes, it's a very, very good looking spider, but I like the things that make a difference from on a sort of a subtle level. Yeah, again, another gorgeous species.
Pelistiaria ornata is hands down the best looking pokey there is. Especially the adult females when they've got that purple. There is 2 colour variations, isn't there? There's the brown. I'm not quite sure if they're localities or not. I haven't done enough research. My fault. But then you have got the other ones which have got that purple on it. But then I did read somewhere where they said that there was P ornata and then P ornata blue, which is the purple one. I don't know how true that is. They reckon there's a subspecies. Jaden, you're right, mate. What happened to you Saturday night? You just disappeared.
But yeah, there's a lot of underrated species, isn't there?
Yeah.
You could go through every genus, I think, and pick out at least one spider within the genus that, you know, everyone will go, oh, well, no. But then there's someone out there that will go, no, that spider there, you should give it a lot more credit than what's due.
Yeah. Yeah.
Curly hairs.
Yeah.
As I said, as I've always said all the way along, I like all the brackies, just they take too fucking long to grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the colours on them, like the, you know, Hamoris, Amelias, Bohemi, you know, they're all great. You know, the orange, especially fresh after they've molted.
The orange and that redness across the backs as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Again, takes us back to where we were earlier about the Brachypelma and the Toledo cattle being an underrated genuses. You know, who can't say that they don't like a Bohemi?
Mm.
Those legs on Bohemis are absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, they are a pretty smart looking species.
Yeah, I think last week we were trying to remember how many had actually been moved from the Brachypelma to the Toledo cattle, weren't we?
Yeah. It's pretty much all of the plain coloured ones, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, I don't think I could name them all.
Hello, Sidek.
Rob says how many curly hairs?
But this many.
There's many that fit into here.
These are not sling food. But yeah.
So a few then.
Just one or two.
He said he'll send you one out if you can guess the number.
These ones I'm just gonna literally, excuse me a minute. If BTS is up and running, I'm literally just gonna take them with me and give them out to anybody that wants one.
Apparently we don't want any.
You're getting one.
And you tell me not to swear.
But yeah, they're just going to be taken to the next show that's on and handed out to people's kids. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we've got one little sling of a true form and one hobby form sling, and one, well, believed to be adult male once he molts out. He's all darkened up now, so it shouldn't be too much longer.
I've got the adult female that gave birth to those.
Yeah.
I've got a juvenile female, and then Layla's got. She's already got two tiny slings, and a large sling as well of the curly hairs.
I don't think I've got. I've not got any brachiots little cattle slings at the moment.
So you need one of these.
So I've got.
I think most
range.
people need a curly hair in their collection, don't they? Really,
Yeah.
It's like an LP. Everyone's got to have one, really.
Yeah, Rob's just put one LP. Oh my god! Don't even talk to me about LPs. Oh, I've got an adult female, right? Layla's got, I think it's 3 juveniles, 2 large slings, and then somebody got in contact with me that lives quite local, saying, look, you know, my kids had this Venezuelan sun tiger and this salmon pink. They don't want them no more. They've had them a couple of years. Would you kindly take them in? So I took them in as well. So I've got another LP, and I thought, oh yeah, okay, so I'll give one of mine away. And Layla's gone, no, you're not giving them any. You're not allowed to give it away. Oh, Sidex has got an unpopular opinion. He says he doesn't rate curly hairs.
Okay.
Shall I send him a couple?
Is this going to become a Kieran thing? Now
Jaden says the same. I don't rate curly hairs much. I've got both their addresses. I think I might have to post them out to them.
No, that's like the Vargans as well. I think they're a bit underrated.
Yeah.
I love the Vegans. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want,
my one
if you want something that's good contrast, you can't go wrong with the Vegans. That nice jet black velvety looking front section with that bright red abdomen when they freshly malted, they are stunning.
That's why I like the Albiceps, because you just get that sort of like contrast between the yellow carapace to the red abdomen, or the white, sorry, carapace, and then the jet black legs.
Yeah.
Well, R1 at the minute, well, R1 sort of malted a couple of weeks back now, so she's looking quite nice.
Yeah. So,
and it was kind of an unexpected molt as well, which was quite good.
Yeah. So one of the other species that I had when I took my start of my long break from the hobby and I had to sell up everything that I had, one of the most heartbreaking sales out of the collection was a pair of Xenestis immanis. They are absolutely stunning, and they get to a cracking size as well. And they're so expensive.
I think it goes to that whole thing of like people's preferences. Like, you know, when you first get into the hobby, everyone likes and wants all those big spiders, don't they?
Yeah.
And brackies are quite a nice size that, like we were saying earlier, that they are quite a nice size and they're a nice display tarantula as well.
Yeah.
like everyone sort of tends to shy away from all the dwarf species because you don't really see much of them, or because if you go and get a 0.5 centimeter sling, you kind of get a bit worried sometimes.
Yeah.
There's some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful spiders in the dwarfs.
Yeah, we were talking about that last week as well. So
Dolichos
really,
delicae
really
are
underrated thing.
tremendous.
I never really.
Docoseli Alexius, is it as well? That is another beautiful one. The Letzi.
Yeah.
I suppose you could consider the Bumbacola dwarf as well.
Yeah,
There's another
you got
one.
the pumpkin patch.
I think they're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, the Bumbacola.
Yeah. Yeah, you got like pumpkin patch and anything in the Sericosmus genus.
Yeah.
Lencia elegans.
Yeah.
The list goes on, really, doesn't it? Like, you can start naming off all these tarantulas, and as you say, there'd be someone that would go, "No, don't like that one," or someone would say, "Yeah, that's a very underrated tarantula."
It's knowing what's out there as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because because somebody could say, "Oh, what do you think to this spider?" And you're like, "Well, actually, I don't know what the hell that is. Let me just Google it."
But that's what I've said all the way along. When people obviously say, "What's a good first tarantula?" and everyone always first points people to all these big tarantulas. When truthfully, why do you have to have something huge as your first one? At the end of the day, you could have like 7 or 8 dwarf species in the same sort of area as what you could have 2 or 3, say brackies or something.
Yeah.
What was your first tarantulas?
Mine was a Orphanacus species blue pane.
It's quite a first.
Yeah, she bought it for me. I come home and there it was in the tub on the table, and it was like, "Here, have a tarantula."
Yeah, it's not.
I was given to.
Yeah,
her,
not known for being the most placid species either.
I was given my first 2. Were given to me because this lad was moving out of his house, didn't want them no more. So I can never say it, so apologies. But the Shakalades, that desert one, I'm really
Chalcones.
Yeah, and a curly hair. But the first one I actually bought was an OBT, because I went down to my local reptile shop, which is KBN in Coventry. I fucking love giving them guys a plug because they're absolutely phenomenal. And the girl in there, obviously clocked how enthusiastic I was about spiders, and then she showed me a large. Yeah, Jaden says they're absolute beauts. She showed me a large sling of an OBT. And she was going, "Yes, mate." She says, "These are absolutely crazy. They run around their enclosure, they do this, the web up," and I was just sold.
Yeah,
I was absolutely sold. She told me about the venom potency. She gave me all the information that I needed there and then. She then printed out a load of stuff for me to take home as well. And that OBT, the other 2 spiders, like I said, I think it's because I got given them. I didn't go and get them myself. I still got them, still love them to pieces. But the OBT that I went out and got myself, that sparked my addiction off completely. This bright orange thing, it was just absolutely little psychopath he was.
Yeah, so OBT was my second one that I ever purchased.
As well. From sling to full-on mature male in 12 months.
Yeah.
That OBT.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I like about them is they are a very fast-growing species. They don't piss about. They're really easy to maintain. They are probably one of the most bomb-proof species I've ever seen. They are stunning. They make a shed load of web. They're just a good all-round species, I think. because they're a fantastic species to look at with the colours and that sort of stuff. They've got, you know, that sort of temperament where they don't have any issues being out and about on display. Like I said, they web up like crazy, and they are absolutely bomb-proof. My second purchase, see, I was into tarantulas a lot longer than like before I started actually keeping them, and it was more down to the fact that while I was at home living with my parents, there was no way that they were ever going to let me keep them. So always really interested in them and that sort of stuff. So did a lot of research and read up about them a lot and that sort of stuff. And my uncle used to keep spiders as well. So kind of when I went to visit family, I got to have a look at his collection, and we always used to chat about them and that sort of stuff. And then when I had the opportunity to first live on my own and buy my own first tarantula, I went out and did what everyone did and bought a bog standard Chili Rose. So got the Grammostola rosea as the first ever one I purchased, and then 2 weeks later I went out and bought another 4. So I bought my next purchase after that was an OBT, an Ageniculata, because I think they're absolutely stunning. You can't have a collection without an Ageniculata in it. And then I also got a little juvenile salmon pink at the same time. And what was it? It was a Togo Starburst, so HMAC. So that was my first five tarantulas, all within the space of about, like I said, 2 weeks.
I've got 4 HMACs. Well, I flipping love them. I do a HMAC.
They're awesome. HMACs and Featherlegs, absolutely beautiful.
Featherleg baboons, yeah.
Yeah.
The Calcetium, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stromatopelma calcium.
That's the one, yeah. Stromatopelma calcetium. They're absolutely beautiful. Night, Rob. My OBT, well, one of my OBTs, I should say, she gets her molt and she puts it up into her webbing.
Yeah.
So she'll use it as part of her den. So I don't take those molts out that she uses. I leave those in. There's plenty of springtails and stuff like that in there anyway, just in case. And obviously with an OBT being a bit drier, I'm adding springtails into their enclosures sort of on a fortnightly basis.
Yeah.
But she uses her molt as structure. The Kigmora doesn't. The Kigmora she'll just chuck her molt out and dump it anywhere. Yeah. But I found the OBT to actually use theirs like constructively as part of the structure to their webbing, which I find fascinating. Because if you think about it, you know, if you did that yourself, if you molted, you'd want to put that molt in the bin, wouldn't you? You know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it anywhere near me. I'd be like, no, get it in the bin, throw it away.
Spread it out on your bed to make it a bit more comfy.
Maybe there might be a chain of selling them online. People can put them on.
I'd get my molts and I'd stuff them and put them outside people's houses that don't like me.
Yeah.
At least you'll be able to fill up concerts pretty quick.
So, yeah.
Any tarantulas you guys don't like, wouldn't keep because purely you just don't like them or even hate them?
Nandu Trapepi.
Really?
Yeah.
I think they're beautiful species.
Oh.
They are. See, this is the thing. It's a constant mental struggle because I think they are gorgeous. They are absolutely beautiful teas. But I kept one and I had a really, really bad reaction to the urticating hairs. And I just fucking hate them now.
I have really bad reaction to the Lazadora Kluge hairs. If I go anywhere near her, that's it. All hair starts itching and get little red dots.
Yeah.
But if I go near the LP, nothing. Just a little bit itch maybe, but nothing like that.
it's the same with me. Nothing else that I've ever been in contact with has ever bothered me. You know, I get doing things like the Goliaths enclosure and the salmon pink enclosure and stuff like that. If I'm sorting out the substrata, I'll get a little bit between your fingers where it starts to itch a little bit, but it doesn't bother me. Doesn't get into my nose, doesn't get into my eyes, doesn't cause me any dramas. For some reason, this Nandu Trapepi, just being in the same room as it was in my nose. I felt like I physically wanted to claw the line of my own nose out. It was that bad. And none of the others, Formictopus, Lasiodora, Theraphosa, none of the ones that are supposed to be really, really bad affect me in any kind of serious way. But this particular Nandu Trapepi, just, yeah, for some reason, it just did not agree with me. And
I've got quite a few for Formictopus. None of them.
hey,
What's up?
what is going on there?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Dude.
Wicked.
How is everyone?
Yeah,
That's
all
can't
good.
Chanel number 5,
Just
that is,
dying. My head burns, man. I'm not getting any feedback.
I know why he's dyeing his hair. I know
No.
why he's dyeing his hair. Do you want to know why he's dyeing his hair? Because Neil from Raggy Tees is on holiday. So when Neil comes back, Jaden's all dyed his hair and all ready for him.
All
I
dressed
said
up
I'll
for
do
the
it for my.
occasion.
I said I'll do it for my 2K subs. Well, I was going to do it for my
Congratulations,
1K
obviously.
subs. Oh, cheers, dude. I
That is
appreciate
some
it.
achievement, mate.
Yeah.
That is massive.
I found 8 paper.
Oh, thank you. That helps. 2 seconds.
I mean, especially for the invert kind of tarantula YouTubers, sort of want, you know, getting 2,000. The percentages of people that manage to do that are really, really low.
Yeah.
Oh, I have Kat to thank for a lot of it.
Tarantula cat.
Well, I was at 1,800 and I think 60 something. So Kat really helped me get to the last bit.
Is it? That's off of the last video, yeah.
Sorry?
Is that off of Cat's last video?
Yeah, so
Your intro,
I was at
yeah.
1,860 something subs, and then Cat's video like managed to get me over 2K. There was PSP as well. I think she got me a few subs because I had a few Filipinos comment as well. And then yeah, just obviously usual videos. But it's probably all from Cat's video, to be honest.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun doing that. Why are you taking a photo of me?
It was the Tarantula Collective got me from sort of think it was like 5.5 up to about 800.
I've only
But no,
just got out
I had a
of
lot of
figures.
fun doing Cat's collab. It was good. I
Yeah.
had a lot of good responses on her comments as well from my feeding clips, which was nice. That's what sort of made me want to do the feeding video that I've done today. Where I sort of rinse Scar as well. Have you watched it? The little intro bit.
Yeah,
It's
Well,
hilarious, man.
where she walked in. The green screen work is flipping brilliant.
Hey. The food's here. You know what? It's weird because now I've never smoked on a stream before, but because I'm downstairs, I smoke down here. So it's quite handy, like, because obviously where I'm upstairs, I can't smoke. like when I'm normally streaming and that.
Rebelling against it today. Normally eating on stream, so.
Well, my food's actually just arrived.
What you got?
We Charlotte, did you get chicken burger? Don't know, she went to some chicken place. We went to McDonald's.
Yeah,
Big on
look,
McDonald's today.
I'm trying to put weight on. You know what I mean?
Jesus, man.
I'm losing too much weight. I've got really skinny.
Are you struggling spiders there, Scott?
Flipping wish, mate.
Right, guys, I'm going to go
it's-
eat this quick and I'll be right back.
Everybody
No
says when you hit 40, you'll get a fat bastard, right? And I kept saying, nah, never happened. Never happened. And then when I hit 41, it fucking happened.
See,
And
it
then
happened about
COVID
10 years earlier for me.
Right, when COVID struck, I had 100 days off. So I'm on call with work now, right? So if my phone goes, I do apologise. But my work is really, really physical. So I had 100 days off. And there I am sitting there going, well, I'll have something to eat. 10 minutes later, I'll have something to eat. For 100 days. So I put a stone on all through furlough. And now trying to lose it is unreal. But the only problem is I don't want to lose it because I've got a good cup size now. Do you know what I mean? So
I don't think the missus would be too happy about you overtaking her, but
Jada says he's coming back in 10.
Yeah.
No, at that moment, this ain't too bad because I can use her bras as support. But I ain't got like big sticky out nipples, which I really like. I've got the small ones, so they don't like.
Oh no.
how the stream turns, eh?
You gotta have a laugh along the way, dude. You have to have a laugh. Can't all be serious. Sod that. Keith said, "Get some tassels. Do them." It's Keith. I mean, I know Keith is quite public about this, so I know he won't mind me mentioning. But being homeless as well. After what the last 5 years, really, to be completely honest with everybody, is where I put the weight on, and that's because you go from living on the streets. Then you give a pot, then you're given a kind of tiny little flat. You've got an extremely low budget, so when somebody puts food in front of you, you eat the whole lot. You don't waste nothing. When I was homeless, the soup kitchens and stuff that we used to go to, they didn't give you a lot, but what they did give you, you had everything, even if you didn't like it. And the problem with that is when you come back into as normal life as life can be for us guys, it's never normal. But every time somebody puts food in front of you, you've still got that mentality of I need to eat all this because I don't know when my next meal is going to be.
Yeah, well, on a sort of
even though now I do know, I can eat whenever I want. Every time there's food put in front of me, I tend to eat the lot still. And I do find that with a lot of the lads that I was on the streets with and in hostels with, a lot of them have put quite a lot of weight on. And that's purely because you go from having nothing and then you overindulge almost.
It's not even so much about the overindulgence as well. It's actually a response that your body has for going through a period of not getting the right amount of food. So your body switches into starvation mode. So basically, it's almost like it's an automatic thing. Your body doesn't know where your next meal is coming from, so it will start to store everything that you eat. Which is why generally people that go through like fad diets and stuff like that, if the diets don't work and they start eating normally again afterwards, they put on a lot more weight quicker because your body all of a sudden goes, well, hang on a minute, I've just been starved for God knows how long. I need to store all this stuff up just in case I go for a period of not being able to eat again. So you store a lot of extra fat and a lot of extra carbohydrates and that sort of stuff, just because your body's been used to not getting like enough of it.
Exactly. I mean, Keith just said he still scoffs it straight away.
Yeah.
But then I found when you're homeless, you're cold and you're hungry, the hunger pain for me was worse than any pain, worse than any addiction rattle have done. It's absolutely fucking soul destroying. It really is. So while we're on those lines, anybody that's listening, when you do your shopping, everybody can afford to buy a 4-pack of beans or a 4-pack of tins of anything. And when you walk out of your supermarket, you'll see the food bank box. Just put stuff in there. Because the first 2 weeks in a hostel, I had absolutely fuck all on, and I had to live on those food banks. And that meant the flipping world to me. And for the sake of £2 when you go shopping, or £1 even, it's nothing really, is it? You know?
Yeah, no, always do.
But that pain from being hungry, oh mate. I mean, I still see some of the lads from sort of 5 years ago. Some of them are still on the streets, and they ask me for cash and stuff like that. But I always buy them some food or something. No, you know, not money as such, because I know where money would go. But Keith said, doubled up in hunger. Regular food bank donations would always buy a meal when can for someone living on the streets. Definitely. A lot of people will walk past people that live on the streets. A lot of people look down their nose or ignore them completely. To people that do that, I say, you know, you're not fucking human. You're the ones that are causing a massive problem. Just to walk past somebody who's living on the streets and go, "You're right, mate. I haven't got any money. I haven't got anything on me, but how are you? Hope you're doing well." You know, just start a little conversation, say hello. Will mean the absolute world to them.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, when I was on the streets, we didn't hang around so much in the town centre. We kind of stayed in the library a lot because it was warm and quite close to the churches. If we could get a night in a church, then we'd hang around near the church afterwards. So a lot of the homeless population in Britain you don't actually know about or see about, because a lot of it isn't in your face. And what is in your face, you know, the lads and that are sitting in town, the police and the council try and shift them out of the towns because they don't want tourists and businessmen to see them.
Yeah.
Which I think is like, fucking get a grip. I mean, yeah, okay. A lot of the lads that I was on the streets with, yeah, okay, some of them are still using, and that addiction is what's caused them to stay on the streets, because they've gone into a hostel, they've robbed the telly in the hostel, they've sold it, and they've got money for the drugs, and they've consequently got kicked out. Then they've got banned from hostels and stuff like that. People find that out, and they immediately just turn around and say, well, it's their own fucking fault then. It's like, you don't know and you don't realise how much of a need an addiction is. It's not like something that you can just put down one day and that's it. It's gone. Mainstream people really don't realise how bad that is. Yeah, Keith's just put as well, some of the best people I've met on the streets, definitely. Some of the most caring, loving people I've met in my life have come from the streets, for definite. Some of the most sharing people I've ever met as well. Literally, you know, literally will give you half a biscuit if they've got a biscuit. Do you know what I mean?
That's the thing. A lot of people as well that, well, I wouldn't say a lot of them, but some of the people that go out on the streets did come from places with a lot, but obviously for whatever reason they've been kicked out of their home and made, you know, homeless for whatever reason. So there are a lot of people out there that, you know, are made homeless for the worst reason, should we say. There are, you know, there are people, as you say, that do steal or, you know, whatever to try and do almost right by themselves rather than others, should we say.
At the height of my addiction, mate, I stole off my parents. I conned my mum. I stole out of shops and all sorts.
Yeah.
But at the time, it's survival. It's addiction is. It's if you hold your breath, you can only hold your breath for as long as you can, can't you? And then suddenly you have to inhale. You know, you can't hold your breath forever. Addiction's the same. That feeling that comes up inside, the anxieties that you get when you haven't got what you need, and you do need it, there ain't no question about it, are fucking absolutely mental. I mean, I've been 5 years clean off the majority of the drugs, and even now I get like euphoric recalls. Is an absolute fucking bastard, because I'll see some friends that I knew on the street. They've got some cash, and it's it's got to go. Bump, they're gone, and I'm thinking. Normally, you'll have a conversation. You're off to score, and I can feel that building up inside me. It's been 5 fucking years. Do you know what I mean? That euphoric recall, mate, is fucking horrible.
Yeah, that's one of the things that people misunderstand as well, is that they automatically assume that when you get over an addiction and that sort of stuff, that's it, it's done, you're fixed, you're cured, but they don't realise it's actually a lifelong struggle.
It's when they say, because I mean, I actually worked in a rehab as well a long time ago, and I got a lot of tools in there. But when people say you're in recovery forever, you know, recovery is forever. It's not just until you finished your rally. That is 100% true. Because on my bad days, I had a couple of weeks off YouTube a little while ago, because my mum and stuff had some issues there. She weren't too good. But one of the reasons I did that is because the stress got to me. Everyday life had got to me, and I could feel those anxieties coming up. And I thought, if I don't have a chill, if I don't sit back, you know, I'm going to be making a bad decision. But just going back to everybody that is on the streets, and for posh people, common people, anybody, it's one bad decision, and you are that guy on the streets. It's as simple and as easy as that.
Yeah.
Like Keith's saying, Keith's agreeing as well. He says anything for that fix to get you through the day, which is 100% true. And once you quit, the hardest part is staying clean. And
just in the chair.
Like I said, 5 years, and I still get craving, still feel it. You can smell drugs as well. You can smell drugs a mile away. And I find myself going up to people and chatting to people that, because I can see on their face, you know users. A user or an ex-user know what a user is or what they look like. And I'll find myself having conversations with people like that. And in the back of my mind, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to turn it so I can spend a bit of time with them. And then when they go score, I could possibly do it at the same time. So I have to literally almost walk away. I have to find an excuse to say goodbye and wander off. But like I said, that's after 5 years. I've got friends that have been clean sort of 10, 15 years. And they've said the same as well. Even after sort of 10, 15 years, they still get the odd craving.
Yeah.
Because when something bad happens, it's the first thing you think of.
Yeah.
For me, if something bad happens, I think because of the streets and because of the way I was brought up and all the rest of it, there's two things. When something bad happens, I think drugs and I think violence, and I have to really, really sort of sort my own head out. And a lot of that is chatting to friends. A lot of my close friends will know that I will talk absolute bollocks about battering somebody when I'm really stressed and not feeling myself. Do you know what I mean? But once it's off my chest, it's done. It's forgotten about.
And you're a bit
That's
shy.
the thing with it. It's not only just say drugs that it's with. Like if you look at someone that was an alcoholic and that has given up alcohol, or someone that's given up smoking, it's exactly the same thing. Like when they walk into a pub and you've been clean, that 9 times out of 10 you're walking past a load of people that are smoking, and when you start drinking, you start having a chat with people. Next minute, you're standing outside. The amount of people that you speak to that have been like without a fag for like 10 years, all of a sudden turn around and go, yeah, oh, let's have a toke or let's have a fag. And then next minute, you know, they're smoking again. And it's exactly the same sort of thing. Like sometimes, okay, it's not, you know, so much that sort of craving thing, but with smoking, obviously it comes into a general rule of thumb almost that when you're in that group of people or when you're in that situation, you've got everyone smoking around you, you know, it might not even be that you're stressed. It's just for the pure fact that you've got everyone around you smoking. So you just feel, oh, well, okay, you know, it's only one night, I can do it. And then the next day you wake up and you're like, either you go back to it or you are strong and then you only do it as and when you're out drinking or whatever. Or you just stop again all entirely.
Every addiction is the same, right? And if people are smoking and you've quit smoking, while they're smoking, you will subconsciously go over to them and say hello, because subconsciously that addict in your mind is saying, is trying to work out how to get you back on that substance, whether it be alcohol, drinking, drugs, or whatever. So that addict will want you to spend time with people that are already addicts, to try and get a little snippet of what you used to have. This has got me every single time I've tried to give up smoking, because I've always gone to people that are smoking and then, oh yeah, I'll have a blast, and I've had a blast on a fag. And then the next day I've had one in the morning and one at night time or something like that. And then I thought, yeah, I can do this. I can just have like a fag at a night time. And every single time it reverts straight back to me smoking full time. That's the same principles behind that relate to every addiction.
Yeah.
Okay, you kind of putting addiction away from yourself, but you've got to view, or I've got to view the addict being inside my head and being a very cunning little bastard, and he is, because he will literally want me to put me in. He will want to put me in situations where it's available without, subconsciously. And then those days you've got to be extremely strong to wander off. You have to, like Keith said again, the coping mechanisms of old are always hardest to resist in bad times.
Yeah,
very true. Because when you're feeling down, to say no is one of the hardest things. And for me, it's stressful stuff like boss having a go at you for doing something stupid by accident. Do you know what I mean? I'll take that home with me. Then you get home and the bills come in or something. Just normal everyday things of normal life. You got to remember, like us, sort of people in recovery and people that have been homeless. It's not really related to us, and we've been homeless and addicts half the time because we couldn't cope with normality. Normality is extremely difficult for us guys to kind of get our heads around. That's probably one of the reasons a lot of us have used that, and obviously, severe bad issues and bad problems.
Sorry guys, I gotta go wash my hair quick.
Take us with you.
All right, catch you later.
All you're gonna hear is a shower.
I'm looking forward to seeing a finished result.
Is that your unit behind?
I've got to put the dye in first. I'll be back.
What colour you got?
And like Keith just put there, he said all or nothing with addictions, and it is. I mean, years ago I met a guy and he could smoke social. That was his thing. He could go out drinking, smoke social. For me, and like Keith says, it is all or nothing with addiction.
Yeah,
it's you're all in or not, or you're not. And yeah, when you're an addict, it is pretty much you want to be smashed 99.9% of the time. That 0.01% of the time is for sleep.
Well, then can we get a show of hands on who's an animal addict?
Oh, there ain't no lot.
All right.
My drug addiction got swapped for a spider addiction, but it's healthy addiction.
Right. I suppose you're not out like robbing your own grandma to try and get a spider, though, are you?
No, that's true.
No, but the same philosophy kind of works. I don't know if
there's a bit
Keith's
of delay in the
experienced
chat on
this
this.
one, but when you see a spider that you want, because obviously being in recovery and being an addict, it almost it's like when you're taking drugs, the only thing in your mind is that drug until you've got it, and then you can kind of think of other things, but then you're thinking when your next hit's coming from. So when you want a new spider, it can kind of take my whole body over sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's just that addict in me being a twat. But I can work through that. And then waiting becomes an obsession, yeah. And waiting for spiders or a delivery of inverts as well can be quite anxious.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
I mean, if you spoke to the enemy, she'll tell you if I'm expecting something in the post, I'll phone her and I'll be like, "Oh, you're right, babe. Yeah, I love you. Is the postman been yet?" And she'll say no, and I'll be like, "Yeah, but it's 11:30. Can you put your head out the door?" And I'm not happy until she's looked up the street and then there ain't no postman.
Yeah.
And then I'll phone her like 5 minutes later and it'll be, "Has he come yet? Can you text me when he's been?"
Yeah, I can relate to that. I'm the same, and I have no patience if I'm doing any kind of shopping online. If something's supposed to be there by a certain day, if it's not there by the day it's supposed to be there, I'm not happy. Like, I'm not joking. I'm sending messages to the company and going, "Well, hang on a minute. It was supposed to be here by and it's not here by. What's going on?" I don't have the most patience in the world.
No, I normally make the big mistake of doing my spider shop, like online deliveries. I then do all mine on a Friday. So then I've still got all weekend and a Monday then to wait for it. By Tuesday morning, it's like, it should be here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Keith said he's like that at the moment. He's waiting for a Balfour communal. But I was like the other day, when I ordered this, there was loads on there, but this one could come the same day. That's the only reason why I bought this particular make and model, because on Amazon, same day delivery.
Yeah.
I've been quite lucky with finding somebody in the Netherlands that can do that's got what I want. Like I said, what I've ordered isn't tarantulas or spiders, but it are a couple of things that I really wanted. Their name and everything will be in the description of the video. But what I'm getting isn't expensive, but it's quite hard to get. And this geezer's been absolutely phenomenal. But it's posting out tomorrow, and it'll get here on Thursday. So as you guys know, normally you'll order it in the morning, the following morning it's here.
Yeah.
So the next few days for me are going to be fucking nightmare. I was thinking about doing a video, but I don't know. I might postpone doing it because I think my anxieties might show a bit. You know what I mean?
What's that? You just sat with your camera out the window, just narrating over the top.
Where is it? Where is it?
Waiting for postman.
No, I was gonna do a care video, but I think I might rush it a little bit because of the anxieties. Clicking over T's. Yep, exactly. Clucking, yeah. Clucking is it's you're not quite in withdrawal from a drug, but you are mentally. That's what that means, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't think there's like 2 days that go past without having to check someone's website to see if they've got something new in.
Yeah.
2 days. Try 2 hours or 2 minutes. I'm like it at work because my job involves me going to site, repairing a machine, and waiting for another job, or going from that site to another one. So my manager can see what I'm up to because I have to take photographs. So I'll take a photograph of when I get there of the machine serial, what's broke, the repairs I've done. So he can see literally a story of pictures. and then as soon as I've finished, he can then see where my van is. Which sometimes he's phoned me up and said, "Why are you still on site, Scott?" And I'm literally like on the Spider Shop website or chatting to somebody, going, "Yeah, how much can you wait till the 28th? Can you save me one till payday?" Yeah. I mean, if check every break or when sat about at work. If you ask the enemy how much time I spend on the internet, literally just drooling over spiders and stuff like that. It's just so much
My
time.
other half would say the same.
But that's what makes my other half so special as well. Do you know what I mean? She'll whinge about it once in a blue moon. But it's yeah.
But no, it is though. You're always drooling over that next thing, aren't you? Really, you just got to. Even if it's just one of those ones that you know that it's still not going to be for a few years, you always keep looking and checking prices, and eventually you'll see the price like jump, and you think, right, I need to get it now before the next one. Or
I've got 2 dream spiders, and they're both quite expensive. Which is the Sabar Blue. I don't want a sling. I'd like a large juvenile.
yeah,
the prices of them are really high. And then the other one, there is a site that's got one in for £140, but it's CFTN, so it's a bit of a no-no. But that's the Lampertoni.
Okay, yeah.
Those 2 spiders are literally my 2 dream spiders. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I'll get one of those or not one day, I don't know. I was lucky enough a while ago to get a Chileobrachius electric blue juvenile, ridiculously cheap, and now it's an adult female. And I keep thinking, I could sell that and buy one of them maybe, or add money to it and buy it. But then I'd be without the electric blue at the same time. So don't know what I'm going to do. But those 2 spiders, and then. And then you got the family there in the background as well, ain't you? So it's fucking difficult paydays.
Yeah.
I think one of my dream ones, the Xenthus species. Is it Xenthus? Species blue or white or something.
Species blue,
yeah. Like, they're not exactly one of the cheapest of spiders, I suppose. But I wouldn't mind having one of them in the collection.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be back in just 1 second.
Yeah, I still don't know what my next purchase is going to be.
No, it's one of those that, as you say, you just keep looking and looking, and eventually you sort of find yourself that you're just going to have to buy one at a time, or
Lemon patch.
I'm still here. I'm just trying to. I've left it to the last minute to tax the car. I want to do it by direct debit monthly as well, so got to get that done. That's another thing as well with addiction, stuff like this. You leave to the last moment.
I think it's a week after. I did with Sarah, didn't I? We're not going to tax for a week.
so is there obviously Wayne answered this question. Is there any dream reptile that you'd like to have then, Scott?
Oh, Tego. I'd like a Tego.
It's quite a popular
and-
choice, Tegus, isn't they?
Yeah, that's the thing. Is that
An alligator. I'd love a little alligator. I've seen them. I've seen like the dwarf alligators in a 6-foot tank. They
Yeah.
need licenses and all the rest of it. The closest to I've come is I've had an alligator gar in the past, but I would love an alligator. I think you can probably blame Steve Irwin for that. Well, you watch him, don't you? And, you know, God rest his soul, like, and his enthusiasm for reptiles and alligators and crocodiles is just you can't watch him and not be sort of
No.
moved by it or affected.
No.
so? Other than inverts and reptiles, what would you keep?
Ooh.
Finches.
I'd like a ferret again. I used to take my ferret walks and all sorts. Had a harness for him and everything.
You have to be parrot.
Yeah. They take up a lot of space, parrots.
Yeah, but then you know if you can fit this lot in, then you could
Yeah.
you could fit a couple of parrots in.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, I mean the missus has started to branch out a little bit. So I've just got rodents. We breed the rodents anyway. So we've got rats and mice. We breed them and Maltese. And then she's just got a pair of rabbits. Just getting them giant continental rabbits, whatever they are. She wants them. We've got sugar gliders now.
He says any invert or reptile you guys wouldn't keep.
Centipedes.
I love centipedes.
See,
Galapagos Giant is one of my dream inverts.
yeah, see, I don't know, something about them is just not right. And I don't trust anything that uses its arse as a decoy. That's amazing. I want one of them. It's like a funky little bat.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what it is now. But,
It's a baby goblin bat
oh, it's a baby goblin bat.
native to Cuba.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, I'm getting some information. Native to Cuba.
How about this one? Is there any fantasy creature that you would love to keep or transform into? I say transform into because I'd love to be a werewolf.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then my fantasy creature that I'd love to sort of keep is a dragon. I think that's probably a popular one, but yeah, dragon.
See, not a fantasy creature, but one that I would definitely like to keep. Is actually a timber wolf.
Ooh.
I absolutely, without a doubt, my favourite mammal are wolves. I love wolves. So yeah, and I found out you can actually get like American grey wolves and timber wolves and stuff like that as pets. You can buy them.
Can't you have half and half?
Wolf dogs, yeah. There's a lot of wolf
Well,
dogs.
yeah, my friend's got half wolf and half. I think it's Alsatian, maybe.
You get they do cross them quite a lot with things like huskies, malamutes, shepherds, other things that kind of look a bit wolfy anyway. They do cross them with those, so you get a lot of wolf dogs. They're generally absolutely enormous. Keith just said Fenrir, absolutely spot on. So I love wolves. A Fenrisian wolf would be absolutely amazing. And Fenrir is actually my German Shepherd's name.
This is after you've paid your vehicle tax, right? I've just had to pay 6 months in full. Like a
Wow.
bastard. It then says satisfaction survey. Overall, how did you feel about the service today? Very dissatisfied, I think I'm going to click. How could we improve the service? By making tax a lot cheaper. Send feedback. Fuck you.
I don't know.
Or any
Angel says, how
inverter
much
you wouldn't keep. If money wasn't an object, then I don't think there's any invert or reptile that I wouldn't keep unless it was illegal. Do you know what I mean? Not just DWA, but like severely endangered, which I know is a massive sort of touchy subject at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you've got people kicking off because you know the Polish are the only ones that ever go over and rob the forest of spiders, aren't they? Yeah, of course, mate. But then, yeah.
We've said about this anyway.
Whole new conversation. I was having a conversation with somebody that owns an online shop, and it's a private conversation, so I won't name them. But they said, "Well, what's the difference between paying some local? I'm just going to say African, just purely because that's the only thing that comes into my mind. Is paying an African a $5 to go into the bush, rob let's say an adult female OBT and a male, send them to you, and that's cost you 20 quid. Their habitat is still in place, but then more habitat is destroyed through silicone mining for the device that you're chatting to the geezer on, i.e. your phone, your laptop and your telly, then whatever damage that guy has just done going into the forest, you know what I mean? So it is a very weird situation, I think, with inverts.
Yeah, we've had this chat, is that, you know, at the end of the day, there are going to be people that don't like that things are wild caught. But how did things end up in the hobby at the very start?
This really annoys me because there is somebody that is at the forefront of this, almost, and they're very. If you chat to them, they will tell you that they don't like people that go off and do this and all that and t'other. But then they're sat there with wild caught. So it's like, well, what's the difference? You're either in it, i.e., if you're going to say that people shouldn't be going out and robbing these endangered species and doing all the rest of it and leaving their habitat in place, like I've just suggested, then you should not also be buying or being given wild caught spiders, full stop, either. Yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah,
because if you're going to stand there and say, you know, you shouldn't be going into the forest, you shouldn't be doing this, blah 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 blah, then you, by having wild caught, you're kind of adding to the situation. You're helping a species that's in the wild become endangered anyway. Me personally, I have got a very unpopular opinion on it because I don't like it. I hate it. If somebody's going to go into the wild and get a male and a female and breed those for this, which will then have babies, supply everybody's greed, but then also because people have got babies, no more needs to come out of the wild, then how much of an issue is that going to be?
Yeah.
But
that's the difference. That's the difference between poaching and ethical farming, isn't it? So the people that go out and collect, you know, 200, 300 adult females and 100 adult males or whatever else, however they do it, bring them in and then sell them off to the UK. That's taking a large population of stuff out of the area that they come from and bringing them in. If we're talking, you know, somebody that's decided off their own back to go out, wild collect a couple of specimens for them to breed so they can then sell off the offspring, introduce the offspring into the hobby in the hope of then expanding the market of captive bred stock, that's the difference. And I'm with you on that. So I disagree with poaching and taking them out of the wild on a larger scale, but the demand is always going to be there. People are always going to want to buy them. And if you can get somebody that will bring them in to captive breed them, as far as I'm concerned, that's basically a conservation project.
Exactly. But the thing that always licensed collectors would be way forward, I think, although near impossible to man. Yeah, 100% Keith.
Yeah.
But then the other thing about this whole situation as well is every time it's mentioned, it's Polish. It's like, okay, so have you got conservation in mind, or is this your racist side coming out? That for me is very much like, well, is it just an excuse for you to be racist, or is this a genuine concern, or is it an excuse for you to become more publicly noticed?
Yeah.
Is it an attention-seeking thing? Because I've seen all three. I've seen people that are genuinely concerned. I've seen comments where, you know, I mean, I've got good life experiences behind me, so you can kind of recognise the racist traits behind it. And then I've seen people say stuff just purely because they want that publicity on themselves as well.
Yeah.
So it's a very strange thing really, to try and sort out. Licensed collectors would be a way forward, but then you're still going to have the racist person still going to be shouting and kicking off about that. But then every single spider in the UK, apart from the ones that have been imported, obviously wild caught, must have come from illegally caught spiders. I mean, the Burrow, there's one company that's getting absolutely hammered all over the place for having Burrow. But this person's not selling adults, were they? They were selling the slings.
Yeah.
Which then stops people then going out and poaching.
Yeah.
Other companies I've seen selling adults, not been mentioned. Again,
Okay.
This company is mainly Polish based, so it's like, well,
yeah,
such a weird place. Again, T. Saladonia as well. They're all illegal, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because isn't the offspring of illegally caught spiders, their offspring's also illegal, isn't it? And then their offspring, if I remember right.
I think they've got to be like third generation captive bred before you can legally trade in them or something like that.
But then there must have been legally brought in to be able to get that, though, surely.
Yeah.
But don't know. I mean, I don't agree with poaching at all.
No.
But I can see the reasoning, and I've expressed my thoughts on it. But yeah, licensed collectors, that would be.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at things like So going back a few years, there was a species in the poke genus, the Hanuma villosamica. They were illegal, so they were actually covered under the Protected Species Act, so that you couldn't bring those into the hobby. And a lot of them were being brought into the hobby, and they were being like sold. I mean, like I said, we're going back 10, 15 years now, and they were being sold as Poikilotheria, like North Sri Lankan variants or whatever else they were being sold off as. But it turned out that they were actually, you know, a very, very small, like, separate species from a very, very small area. And that area of forest block that they lived in was suffering from like really bad deforestation. And because of the deforestation, they were losing a lot of the native species that lived there. So they actually became endangered, that particular species within the poke genus. So what they actually did was, I think with some people from the BTS and the local government in Sri Lanka, actually organised a sort of collection, if you like. So they wild collected a few specimens, and then they captive bred from those, and it was all done under license. It was all done legally, and now you can actually get captive bred legal Poikilotheria Hanuma villosamica in the hobby, because the ones that are out in the wild are still an endangered species because of the deforestation in the area that they're from. But the ones that are available in the hobby are all part of a conservation project to stop them being poached. So they actually wild collected a few, captive bred them, and then introduced those into the hobby. And it's those that everyone's bred from, and that's the ones that are available in the hobby now. You can't get wild caught adults anymore because it's illegal to import them. Hi, Veronica.
I think that's the same with most of the pokies, aren't they? Majority of them on CITES.
So a majority of them are covered now.
Exactly, yeah. But I think deforestation is a flipping huge issue.
Yeah, definitely.
It's okay. It's all right putting a lot of these species on CITES or protecting them and doing all this, that, and t'other. But when Mr. Moneybags, who wants the area for silicon, comes along, they all get fucked off anyway.
Yeah.
That's not justifying people that are poaching, by the way.
No.
No, unfortunately, there's always going to be the man on top with the most money that can basically do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the way the world is these days. Unfortunately, if you've got money behind you, if you want to do something, you can do something. I'm eating a bacon double cheeseburger from McDonald's.
So it seems like everyone sort of went for a fast food night, and I had my own little homemade chili tacos earlier on.
Oh.
The wife cooked those. Nice. Right, gents, it's nearly 11:30. I've got to get up quite early for work in the morning, so I'm going to have to call it an evening now. It's been an absolute
problem.
Right. Yeah, pleasure as always, and I guess we'll see you.
Yeah, I won't be staying for too much longer, so. But, right.
Yeah, same. I've got to get up at stupid o'clock.
Right, guys, we'll enjoy what's left of the evening, and we'll see you again soon.
Yep.
Thank you very much for having me this evening.
Cheers, lads. Thank you.
Right. Well, I'll stay till I finish the burger, and then I'll.
Need the bottle. Yeah, I put him down. He screams the house down.
Oh.
Thanks, Veronica. Angel just said hello, Tara.
Oh, nice lot.
What?
So let's finish that one off.
Late apparently.
Right, not 7.
Hmm? So who have we got left in the chat? Who's made it to the end? I've just been informed that we have 3 dislikes on the stream.
Don't even worry about dislikes.
I don't care.
Dislikes and the couple of people that have been negative are the ones that spur me on to do another video, to be completely honest.
And then comes out a lot of completing it to jealous twat. You need to fucking
Angel
know.
says that she's blaming you, Scott.
Probably because who's on the street? Oh yeah, Veronica. She put a couple of negative comments on my video, so I blocked her. So love you, Veronica. Thank you. Some people get subs that don't deserve it. I've got over 1,000 now. Thanks. You know where the door is.
I am joking.
I doubt it.
What?
No, you did. No, you didn't, Veronica. You didn't question that at all.
No, I can't hear.
You said something very negative about me having so many inverts.
Even Rennie says so.
I don't think Veronica's called Veronica in real life. You also got 400 subs in one day. Paid, cough, cough. Yeah, paid 400 subs with the raffle money.
Just sat there and made 400 accounts.
Yeah, if you hide your subscriber account, and then if you reveal your subscriber account to Buddy, which is the people that give you a certificate, as you very well know yourself, that will then count all your subs as if you've got them on that one day. But it was more than 400. But it's the negative people like that. I've got about 2 or 3 that really spur me on, to be honest. It really does, yeah. Start doing your own videos, mate, and then you'll see what I mean. Hide your subscribe account and then do it.
I don't know. Rennie, I don't know where James disappeared off to, and obviously Wayne's left because it's getting a bit late. And we both have work in the morning, so normally it's finished up about 11 o'clock.
Yep, the inevitable work. Bank holiday Monday as well. On call. Got called out twice today. But a bit of a bonus because it's I get paid a certain amount for being called out. So I got that twice, but it's double time and a day's holiday. So effectively being called out twice, but I get paid for 4 and a day's holiday. No, just jumped on for just the one day, Rennie.
Right. Well, I think I'll call it it.
Okay.
But cheers for joining us for the evening.
Thank you very much
And
for the invite. It's been brilliant.
thank you to everyone that's made it through the evening in the chat. So, good night, farewell, and we shall see you all. All right. See you
Good night,
later.
everybody.